Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show, bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Recording live in studio, here's Nick and Matt.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday night, and what a Monday night, or it wouldn't be a Monday night without us being 2 minutes late onto the show. But anyways, welcome to episode 172 of the Nick and Matt Show. Matt is here with me. Intern Ben is here with me.
Why do I have so many nerves tonight?
I don't know. It's the new year. I'm feeling anxious, but it's not because of this. I have a different anxious feeling. We'll talk about that later.
There's a lot going on.
There's too much.
I tried sipping on Canada Dry ginger ale because I was told, like, when I was younger, like that helps you, like.
I always heard that was good for like
stomach.
Yeah, stomach.
So when I get anxious, yeah. So, dude, happy New Year to everybody. Mm-hmm. Tonight we have intern Ben here. Yep. We have Evan not here. We'll talk about that. Nick says he's got stuff going on.
Yeah,
I've got stuff going on. We've got a lot to break to you tonight, which is really cool. And it doesn't involve Gannon Burr or Eagle McMahon or Nicholas Antila.
We might talk about them.
Yeah, we'll talk about all
But the
that.
big news does not involve them.
That's right. The big news. So I usually, when something cool or big, important's happening, I write stuff down. You guys remember that? And I think I've got comments before, like, Matt should just write everything down and just read from a script.
Just fully scripted.
You saw the title of tonight's YouTube stream. You probably have the same title in the podcast, like your audio listening if you're waking up Tuesday morning. I'm assuming, unless we change it, because it's a little clickbaity, but it's actually pretty accurate too. So
I think it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, it's 100%. Well, it's just a question mark. So if anyone's curious what it said at the time of recording, it says, I'll read it. There it is, Ben. No more Nick and Matt show, question mark, exclamation mark. So what's up? So I'm going to start out reading it. We'll chime in. We'll talk about it. We'll go beat around the bush a little bit more here, and then we'll get right into it. But Nick and Matt show is whipped up concoction between two longtime friends, obviously Nick and me. From episode 1 until now, which is episode 171. That's a lot of episodes, Nick.
That's a lot of Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays that we've spent talking about disc golf.
4 seasons of disc golf.
Yeah. So
I did math a little bit. I was taking a shower before the show, guys, just so you know. And I was like thinking through these numbers, and I think it's probably in the range of like 43 episodes a year, and that's weekly. So 43 weeks a year for 4 years.
Yeah.
There's no joke that's like commitment. Mm-hmm. And like, we appreciate it because I would say but the show has built a listening audience that's substantial. Yes. People tuning in on Tuesday mornings or live. We have a percentage of you that's live, obviously listening, and it's been spectacular. But so yeah, here we are. This is 2024. This is technically, we're still in our 4th year, if you talk about, date calendar to calendar when we started, but we did 4 seasons. So we're starting our 5th season.
This is going into the 5th.
That's incredible.
Season. Yeah.
At least from my perspective.
4.5, because COVID was just, half a season. But yeah.
Well, we started
in
April, March, so it's I wouldn't even call it half.
Right when the tour got canceled is when we started up our show.
Oh, I see what you mean by season.
Because the first 8 to 12 weeks there wasn't even tournaments going on. We just had guests. We had Mike Shue on, a radio host here.
True. And we're like, what are you doing? You're not playing disc golf. Come on the show.
Yeah.
So here we are. So we did it privately. Then we went and subcontracted with Foundation for a year. Mm-hmm. And then we went back to our own platform again. Here we are. And we've interviewed nearly every big player with big storylines, and even getting a few exclusive interviews, especially. Thank you, Simon. That was a big moment. Also, I'm thinking of Paul Macbeth's. This is horrible, Worlds. But his loss at Worlds with James Conrad throw-in was one of our biggest interviews ever for a non-winner, and or ever.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
People for the 15 or 20 minute interview that we had posted when we were with Foundation, I think that netted over 60 to 80,000, maybe 100,000. No. Yeah, I wish. Golly, it's got over 100,000 impressions by far. So yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah. So, we've done a lot of cool things. But here's we'll just get right to it. Nick and Matt show has outgrown just Nick and Matt. Now, if you look back, you can see what started out with us too. If you go back to episodes 1, 2, 3, it's really fun.
Mhm.
It's really fun, especially because Nick's changed the most. No, and my beard.
Well,
like,
yeah, your beard has changed the most, and I've gained a little weight in my face, which has been, kind of nice for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So things have
There's been a ton of
changed.
changes.
But as you watch it, like we met Evan Kearns
Mhm.
before Statmando was like a known brand.
Mhm.
We talked. I saw him at a tournament. I said, "Hey, maybe you can do some stuff for us on the show." Literally, but we both kind of felt like we were taking like
Mhm.
not chances, but like, yeah, let's try something. That blossomed into a beautiful thing. Evan, fantastic guy. Statmando, incredible business and awesome for the sport of disc golf.
And I'm sure everyone has seen the news on the Statmando
Yeah,
PDGA
so we're going to talk about that
partnering, purchasing. I don't know how.
Congratulations to
Yeah.
them. We'll talk about it. But what it is the PDGA has acquired them.
Mhm.
So similar to what Disc Golf Pro Tour acquired Jomez, very similar, I'd
Gotcha.
imagine, in the way it's working. But so Evan came and we participated in talking with him, and he added a lot. I've been interviewed a few times outside of our show about how like Nick and Matt show came to be a thing. And I remember one question specifically, like, how did you get Evan on the show? Because that's like amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's real value.
Yeah.
Real value. So he's our stat guy, but he was more than that. He's a friend, and he helped bring our show to the next level.
Mhm.
Then comes intern Ben.
Yep.
What up, intern Ben?
Hello.
So intern Ben hit me up and he's like, hey, I was listening. I'm into disc golf and I heard maybe I can help out. Maybe you said you might use some help. And you're from Leicester.
Yes, I live.
I'm like, let's come on in. We'll call you the intern. And I was really doing that as a protection for the show. As you can imagine, having your own brand and things that you do. I was like, I'm just going to start it out. No guarantee.
Yeah.
Like you can intern.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing turned into another. It's like you're just intern Ben no matter what you do.
How long have you been on the show, Ben? Like,
It'll
do
be
you know
2
how many
years
episodes
2 years
are
in February?
What's that?
Which is crazy.
2 years in February.
2 years in February?
Yes.
Wow. Time's flying. Oh my
I
gosh.
joined 22 in February.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think
So-
right when Ricky signed.
So this is like a cliffhanger because I realized like the last sentence I said before all of that was like, we've outgrown the Nick and Matt show. Did I
Mhm.
say that?
Yeah.
If I didn't say that. So Nick and Matt, it's more than us. And that's why I'm telling you about everybody else that the show's become a part of. But some of you are going, well, what do you mean? Like, so cool. Like you've added 2 new people.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
If you're concerned, you think the title of the show is clickbait, you're right in a way. But it's also accurate in another way. So here's what you shouldn't be concerned about. If this is one of your favorite podcasts, or we are your favorite, first of all, thank you for that. If we are, you can set those worries aside. We're going to continue to be a great podcast, bringing you the best in disc golf content. However, we're changing our name. The show name is not going to be the Nick and Matt Show.
And it's not going to be the Nick, Matt, Ben, and Evan show.
And it's not going to be anything.
The
We
Nick,
asked
Matt,
each person.
Ben and Statmando show.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
asked each person, do you want it to just be your name?
Yeah.
Like, just you? No.
the
None of
intern
us
Ben
want
show.
that. So we're changing our name, but we have plans to bring you even more disc golf talk for 2024 and beyond. So buckle up. It's going to be awesome.
Mhm.
And so here's the deal. I'm just going to read this because it says everything that I want to say, and there's so many disclaimers I want to say, but here we go. Our new show name, drumroll please, is going to be shocking.
That's not the show name.
No, it's not. Yeah,
shocking.
it's going to be shocking.
where would we go with that? No, just kidding.
We got to get hyped up somehow. Here we go. The show's name is Staggered Stance. So whether you love it or hate it, or you're taken back by it right now immediately, I want to assure you, we did too.
Yeah.
We went through months of a process here involving, shout out to Steve from Sunstein,
Yep.
and trademark law. They are the best. And he went out of his way to really help us. We did a lot of research on this. We've landed on the name Staggered Stance. But so if you don't feel great about it immediately, we didn't either. But with time and a focus that isn't on our name, so it's not about our name. The show was never about the Nick and Matt Show being our name.
Yeah.
It became that to people. Just like I named my kid Hunter, Tanner, Grayson, like they become their name. So we get it. Some of you are going to be like, whoa, that's not you guys at all. With time, we believe it will become synonymous with insightful and entertaining disc golf talk and interviews. You won't be thinking Staggered Stance, good name, bad name. It'll just become synonymous with what we talk about. So the name change. So the name will change, and the logos, of course, with that. There may be a few more pins of disc golf, by the way. If you go to discgolfpins.com, it is now a collector
It's now a
item.
collector's item.
It is a collector item.
Yeah.
The Nick and Matt show of 4 years. Maybe we'll make some swag in the future that says, I've been here since Nick and Matt or something, but that'd be cool. So stay tuned to see our logo update. We're actually not doing that right now. You're not going to see it. It's going to be rolled out maybe tomorrow morning or the next day. You will see that. The name on most of our social platforms, go find them, boys. The name has been changed. So stay tuned to see the logo update, social media. So here's the cool part. So the Nick and Matt show technically is going away in technicality, but the structure and what we're bringing is going to get better and rise. And here's why. Along with this change, another drum roll. Here, let me do this. Does this work? We got to get excited. This is our pump up music. Okay. Along with this change, this is what the people wanted. This is what the people wanted. We are promoting intern Ben, everybody. He will no longer function as an intern. He'll likely remain the persona intern Ben.
Yes.
Just because that's what it's become. But he's no longer intern Ben officially. Like, Ben, you've taken the job and you're sitting there in the seat.
I'm officially a co-host.
Go to your camera.
Welcome, everyone, to the Staggered Stance. Intern Ben here. I'm still going to be called Intern Ben, but yeah, just want to thank Nick and Matt for this opportunity. I joined 2 years ago. I was not expecting any of this, and this literally launched my career that I know now in disc golf with pretty much everything that I've been a part of, all thanks to Nick and Matt. So I'm just very excited to be on the show and further the experience and really grow the show to its full potential, and like, be more invested in bringing you guys the best content we possibly can. So exciting. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. It was like a nice little speech there for sure. Intern Ben, you were a fan favorite. It only made sense. The people wanted to hear more from you, so. Cool. I can take care of it.
I guess I'm gone.
And I guess we never adjusted that button. That's pretty funny.
That's so funny.
Oh, now we're going to Nick and Evan. Here we go. So you can tell we've got a lot going on.
Kind of like coming from my side, and I think this is going to get, when you rebrand something, it's going to get mixed reviews. You're going to get some people that love it, who are maybe just longtime diehard listeners of the show, and incredible people that we've been fortunate enough to meet.
They love us, right? Not our show name.
And that's where the Nick and Matt show, like Matt said earlier, started out as Nick and Matt, and we built a show, but we made great additions to the show, adding people onto it, intern Ben and Evan Kearns with Stat Mando. So as the show has grown, one of my favorite shows to watch is the TNT Insider guys, the basketball ones, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, I think. It's just an incredible 4 co-hosts that just talk basketball. They jab at each other back and forth. They do fun stuff. And it's a really, really cool thing. But then another name that I've always loved was Sports Center, because it was just clean. It was fluid. And so Staggered Stance was kind of that SS. I know Sports Center is SC, but it's got the same pronunciation or enunciation. And so Staggered Stance was definitely... If any of you guys in the chat have ever tried to rename something and actually gone into the trademarking aspect of it, like, this is something that when we had founded Discura down in Virginia, this was one of the things of, like, what name actually works. And Discura technically is a made-up word, but at the same time, like, Staggered Stance was cool because it involves disc golf, but we don't always have to be specific to a disc golf, like, episode. We can do other things with it, but we are a disc golf show. We are a disc golf podcast. And so Staggered Stance, definitely, I think, for me, the way that I hear it is, I want someone else to say, like, oh yeah, I heard that on Staggered Stance, or I saw that on Staggered Stance. And that's why I like it. I think that's just my
We've had the benefit now of sitting on this for a couple months, and I think it's settled in enough with us that it's not weird now, because it's doing what I'm projecting should happen with everybody, which is eventually it just becomes who we are. It is weird, though, if you have a kid or a dog and you renamed it, you'd be like, that's just not who you are. So I get that. But the cool part is you're still tuning in, whether you like the name or not, you're getting the same content. So hopefully you can either move past it or fall in love with it, one of the two.
Oh, I have a comment too, if I can. So
No, you can't. Oh wait, intern Ben.
Oh
what?
wait, I gotta realize I can say things now without asking.
Let's
Without
not go that far.
Okay. And another reason why I personally like it, because I think the double meaning staggered stance is a disc golf term, and it means we all have different opinions, different stances, staggered. So I think that's ultimately why we settled and why we like this so much, because it has the talk show element and the disc golf element all in one.
Absolutely. And I was thinking, people are going to laugh, but like Nick makes an opinion, or Ben or Evan, and I go, I'm going to take a staggered stance to that. The point is, like, I'm going to take an alternating viewpoint, stagger stance, or it could be I have 1 foot in one and one in the other. But if you have 1 foot in one and I have one in the other, I'll say I'm taking the staggered stance. But either way, that is the name of the show. Intern Ben's promotion. He is now a 4th host on the show. Very cool. We're happy to have you, Ben, as that. Obviously, we've had you as that realistically for a while, but we're just making it official. So like on screen, at least, you're going to be up there. You're not going to have a little box. I hope people appreciated that over the last year. The intern box just whoop,
I know. I love the intern box. It's my favorite.
It was awesome. So there's that. Also, we got more. Are you all set, Benny?
Yeah.
So I will give this announcement and then we can reveal. We are also going to be, if that wasn't hype enough for you, and I hope people are sitting in their living rooms, like their screens are on, or TVs, or whatever you guys watch on. And I've seen people, they send us pictures. They got their beer, their legs kicked back, their TV's on, they're watching the Nick and Matt show. If that's you,
thank you.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
We're adding another weekly host.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? You guys talk over each other enough as is. Well,
hopefully this will be kind of a mediator too. He'll just jump in and yell over everyone and be like, hey, stop.
So here it is. We're going to be adding another weekly host. His name is Josh. His last name is the same as mine. You have met him before. We really believe that this new host role is going to bring great value and insight to your disc golf consumption. Benny, bring him in. Oh, wait, you're not the intern, but you can still do that for us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
All right. Josh, how's it going, man?
This is going good. This has been fun. I've been sitting back chilling. I almost forgot you were going to pull me into the show tonight. I was just listening on pins and needles. I thought it was going to be the Matt and Nick show. Intern Ben still around, but yeah, I'm super happy. I'm happy to be.
Are you not? You're entertained. You're entertained.
I am entertained.
Are
yeah,
you not
absolutely.
entertained?
Okay, so we're bringing you in as a 4th host. Now, people are going to do the math really quickly, and they're like, "Wait, where's Evan? Well, and Evan's doing the numbers right now too."
Yeah,
he's
probably like, wait, hold on.
Wait, what? We'll talk about that in just a minute. But Josh, you and I have done disc golf talk together for years, actually. Some people may not be as familiar with that, but we did a stint 2 years on Disc Golf Network with our own show, and also modifications and growth over the years to collaborate with others. But we did that. Disc Golf Pro Talk was one, and then League Night most recently. You enjoy talking disc golf. If we're being honest and transparent, you don't play it a lot anymore, but you're an avid consumer of information and what's surrounding disc golf, right?
Oh yeah. In fact, playing less has let me focus more on, what the pros are doing and talking about the scene. And I still play. I've got discs in my backyard. My son and I go out. And so I enjoy the sport. I'm not competing. I haven't played a tournament in 2 or 3 years at least. I don't know. Maybe I'll play this year. But anyway, that's right. And Matt, you're saying
the backyard tournament.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I did play the backyard tournament.
Oh, the Nick and Matt show.
Second to last, I think. Maybe we'll see. But
down there too.
Yeah. And Matt, you said we've had a show. That's true for several years and done some different things, but we've been talking disc golf for well over a decade. Yeah. It's just we finally are recording it and pushing it out to the masses. Literally, I remember, I don't know the year. I'm going to say 2012. It could have been earlier than that. Thinking at that point, how else could we get involved in the sport of disc golf beyond throwing discs on the field because we love it so much? And, since then we've taken a bunch of twists and turns. Some were just little hobbies. Some were just thoughts and conversations, and some things became a reality. Obviously, we own a disc golf business on the national scene for juniors for several years, and you've been doing all this work. I'm really happy to join Nick Ben, congrats on
Thank you.
still retaining the name of Intern Ben. Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Who knows what I'll bring to the show? We'll see.
I don't even know.
If people like or don't like what I have to say.
Is it like a trial basis? If 80% of the
Intern
fans are
Josh.
like, nah, this ain't working, we're just like, sorry, Josh,
Yeah, does
gotta cut
Josh
you.
have to climb the
wondering.
ranks now?
But the best part, I don't know how this will be received. The best part is like, I don't think I actually like care what people think or don't think.
Oh,
I'm just
don't
going
say
to
it.
like,
Yeah.
no, I
You never taught your brother that growing up? Come on.
No, this is the
So-
most freeing part
just
of joining
kidding.
the show. Is like I'm just going to be like who I am and talk about disc golf how
It's
I want to talk
so
about disc golf.
freeing. The haters will drive you to be better. No, let me see here. Josh predominantly gets love in our comments, and if I go real quick here, I should be able to find it. Somebody sent us this recently. I miss Matt's brother's hot takes from last off season. We love you guys' work. Thank you for the content. Somebody specifically reached out in this off season asking for your content. So
Do you know who asked for that? Because it may have been me.
His burner account.
He needs to pump up his value.
Yeah.
I like how I get to be known as Matt's brother. Though. That's great. You can change my name on there.
Matt's brother.
Yeah, we could leave the last names. No, we're good. We actually have similar ats too for like Instagram name first on. I think I followed your lead on that one. So, but we've added you. We're excited about what that does for the show here. We really think people are going to find extra value with your opinions, whether they balance ours or they're antagonists to ours or each other's. I think it's going to really be
staggered.
great. Although I think it's, staggered opinion, staggered stance. I honestly think it's going to be hard to outdo Evan's like opposition to what we have to say. Evan's pretty, oh, you guys think that? I'm going to destroy it.
Yeah. Don't try to compare me to Evan because Evan brought like awesome stuff and we're going to hear from him more, right?
Yes.
But, let me just say too, right? I listen to the show every single week.
Oh,
and
man,
without
first
fail,
time caller.
Yeah. Without fail, at least one time, usually more than one time, I'm like, what did they just say? They are so wrong about what they just said or whatever. Every time I'm like, I think I'm going to write down a response and send it off to you in text, and I rarely do. But now it just gets to roll off.
Now, I was going to say, now you get to disagree. Yeah.
He's got a notebook of all the times.
No, it's a virtual notebook. It should have been a reality, but
I think we should do a special episode or segment, not an episode, every week where you pull up an old take and you're like, this is the one I wanted to say something to, and then we'll give you that chance. But all right, so that's awesome. We're excited to have you. I don't think, I should say we're going to work hard to really jive together. That was one easy decision for us in asking Josh,
I think
was that we already have this rapport. So I don't think you're going to have this awkwardness, I think, people, between us talking and how to navigate that. So that should be really good. I think it's going to be hard to beat what we bring to the show, I think. And not that people are trying, but I think we're going to bring you some good content.
And I can make it awkward if we need to. Just text me on the side.
Yeah, right.
We have backdoor text going on. Yeah. So we can set it up for people to just call in and just argue your takes, Josh. Like specifically, like I want to call in and argue Josh's
There's one or
takes.
two people in the chat that when the time is right, like I'm all for it.
Daniel.
Ding, ding, ding.
You can call him out, Daniel.
Yeah. Hey, and totally other unrelated thing, Matt, more than once when people hear our voices in different contexts where they maybe haven't met us, they potentially almost get us confused. And the only like lifesaver now is obviously the hair, which is the beard. Like if I grew a beard like that, which I think I
was going to say, could you?
You could, man. You would look older.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure
Although
to
it
have a
would
lot
have
more gray than me.
Yeah, I would have more gray, but like then people would really get us confused. But
what's funny is Matt doesn't even have the longest beard in his family.
Oh, my brother
That's
Johnny.
true.
They don't know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never met him.
Yeah, Johnny's beard is like down to his belly
It's
button. I
long
heard.
down. Yeah, maybe down to his belly. Like, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So people are like, hey, where's Stat Mando? Where's Evan Kearns? Why are you saying 4 host? Finally, this is no, it's not we got a packed show of just our own news.
There's a lot of announcements. Yeah.
So finally, Evan Kearns, Stat Mando. He's in a transition period with his full-time job shifting to Stat Mando stuff full-time since the acquisition of the PDGA. Now, I might have just spilled too much, but he's full-time. I'll just put it that way. Full-time with the PDGA as Statmando. That is incredible.
Yeah,
I'll just full stop. Yeah.
Awesome.
You start a business and now you're doing that full-time as your
Wired in
career.
like 2 years, I feel like, or 3.
It was
insane.
the rise of excellence. There's going to have to be a documentary.
Since 21. Yeah.
So we expect to see and hear Evan in a regular role, bringing the stats, storylines, and more on a weekly basis here. Stay tuned for more on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited. Just didn't work out for tonight. But stay tuned. So with all of that, you're going to get the stats, you're going to get the takes, you're going to get the interviews. We didn't bring the interviews tonight. There's too much going on. We're excited, really excited about this. The friendships and all the, we'll call it a business, but the friendships in the organization working together through this show has been excellent and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken it to the course a few times and Nick always beats us there.
I try.
Ben tries so hard, but the foot faults are too much.
I know. I try. But
You need to try a
those
staggered
extra
stance
strokes.
next time.
He could have.
True.
Okay.
Actually, not in
I'm
that
on
spot. He
shadow
could have.
butter. It's hard.
Yeah.
So all of that being said, we're really excited about what this year holds. We have a great lineup, whether I'm out of studio or Nick is or Evan is or Ben is, like, unless we're all out of studio. But as long as we've got a good core here that we're going to be able to bring good stuff regardless. So we hope that we become your regular go-to or continue to be. So if you're just now catching up, like you just now joined the live show, which I'm only going to do this briefly because people that are listening to the podcast don't need to hear it all again. The Nick and Matt show, the name is going away. The new name is Staggered Stance, and we are specifically going to be calling ourselves a disc golf talk show.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care how you talk about us, podcast or radio or whatever you want to say, but a disc golf talk show. Staggered Stance. Whether you hate it or you love it, we think that you'll come to see that the name becomes synonymous with good disc golf talk, interviews, and content. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got a great audience tonight live, and we appreciate that, each and every single one of you. This off season has been nuts for us trying to navigate all of this. And you say it sounds easy. It's not easy because there's a lot of moving parts that we aren't going to disclose right now. But this was really a big deal for us, and we appreciate that you stuck through the. By the way, I hope all your holidays were great. Like, you stuck through it. You missed some talk that
busy
we brought.
season.
Yeah. And then one more. Whoa. You guys better sit down and put your seatbelts on. All right. We got a great chat tonight, too. Shout out to everybody. Brixton Disc Golf in the house, and a lot of our other longtime listeners and favorites. Well, we don't have favorites. Sorry. Do we have favorite listeners?
Do we have favorite listeners?
Yeah, like, do we have favorites?
I think I could probably pick someone out.
Okay.
I have a
Don't do
favorite
it.
comment so far. Tommy Hawk says, I like the name First Available, and they're on every Monday. Would have been perfect. Not gonna lie, that actually, because we would have been the first available podcast for the new week.
We should do a segment that goes over all of the show names that we went through. We went through probably about, I think it was probably close to 140.
Yeah.
140 names. There's an up and down to everything. Up and down. Get up and down.
Yeah.
There's literally like first, it's hard because first available can be considered like negative connotation.
That was
So
one of the
can
biggest
Griplock.
things is not having negative connotation towards.
And so
like, what it
overthrow.
means.
I'm just throwing out other names now. We love overthrow. But this is my point.
Mm-hmm.
Overthrow to me, I don't think the name overthrow, like as in like what the activity is, and then them.
Mm-hmm.
To me, overthrow is who they are, not like what the name
what it
means.
is. Yeah, exactly.
So that's all. But by the way, I hope there it is.
He goes hurt.
I was really hoping Josh would reply to that.
I mean, I'll just say really quick. One of my
Listen,
favorite
Josh,
names.
you know what I mean. We actually, I clarified. I hope you understand. We actually love your name.
Yeah.
But my point is that the
It's
name
his
does
name.
not.
Yeah, we don't think of.
We don't think of them overthrowing a disc. It's overthrow disc golf.
Think
That
of
is
every
their
name you know.
brand.
You don't
Yeah.
usually think of the action or what it. Okay.
I mean, that's
go
the
ahead.
beauty of a
Yeah, like,
brand.
what
It
the
kind of
heck
turns
does
into it.
What does Innova mean?
Well, that's a made up word. That's like a product,
Okay.
Well,
which we did think of like product names.
We have a made up name for a disc golf show.
No, well,
It's a real
Staggered Stance
word.
is a thing.
Yeah.
But it's also
See?
our made up name for a disc golf show.
True.
It's
There was no disc golf show with that name before
exactly.
that I know
It's
of.
true.
Look,
It's true.
I want to shout out a comment real quick. I said I love pineapples on pizza, and Blade said I'll take a staggered stance on pineapple on pizza.
Perfect.
It's not good, so it's already catching on. I like that.
Exactly.
I love it.
I
I was
that.
hoping.
Matt, what was your announcement? What was your next
oh
one?
yeah,
Sorry, we got way off topic.
Pineapple pizza, baby.
Intern Ben, can you hit that lower third for us? So we've got a very exciting announcement. You're like, it's an advertisement? No. On the Nick and Matt show, we don't do advertisements. We talk about what we love.
Yeah.
Disc Golf 978. It's not even hard to forget. Disc Golf, it's easy to remember is how I should say it.
Mhm.
Disc Golf 978. They are the episode presenting sponsor for the whole year. That is amazing, first of all, to their support for our show.
Mhm.
But in return, it's amazing because we get to talk about a brand that we absolutely love. We cannot say that about every brand.
I love 978.
You can refer to them as 978, Disc Golf 978, but whatever you do, just know that you're getting a community first minded company. Like that is it's right on their website. Oh, great. Yeah, it's on their website. But they literally practice that. If you've been to an event that they're hosting,
Mhm.
you're excited.
Mhm.
You're happy. They bring their whole, maybe not their whole, but their whole pro shop. They have like an RV or trailer.
Yeah, they have a
on,
little
like,
trailer. Not little. They have a big trailer.
all
they
the
bring around.
TV screens out there. You're seeing live scoring for the tournament that you're playing.
Mhm.
Every division like on its own TV, a whole pro shop, everything you want. It's amazing. Again, community minded. They're dabbling in, more than dabbling, custom apparel right now.
Yeah.
I'm blown away. Custom apparel. You can get anything you want done there. They'll do it for you. And I bet you'll get it in a couple days if you reach out to them right now. I don't know how long that will last because they're just going to get slammed.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. Custom apparel, but all the disc golf, free shipping over $25. I'm giving you like the basics here of what they do, but every week you're going to hear about one reason why we love these people. And I can simply tell you the customer service is second to none. And we are excited and support everything that they do.
And they
So check them out.
They ship pretty much day of.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
Give them a try. If you're not satisfied, let us know. Yeah. Like that, I'm convinced.
Yeah,
Absolutely
they're
convinced.
awesome.
They're international. I think you can ship anywhere in the world, but specifically start in the US if you want to make your shipping prices probably a little bit better. Because I think the free shipping over 25 is probably US. But I don't know. I've never tested international.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Who knows?
Let's see what it takes.
Someone earlier was in our chat from New Zealand. He said it's lunchtime over there for him right now. So
Awesome
They're
from New
listening.
Zealand.
yeah,
So Disc Golf 978. We love you. Get all your disc golf needs taken care of there and be sure to visit them at their brick and mortar store or online.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, if you go right now and you're listening and just type in Disc Golf 978 in your browser, show them that they got a hit during the Nick and Matt show. That'd be really helpful as well, just to show the support and value there. Let me put it this way. One of my favorite things, and I hope to be able to do this every week, when I play their tournaments, because they host really good tournaments. Again, this is for everybody around the whole country. You can get anything you need from them. But I'm lucky enough to have them local. If you play their tournament and you get a cash or whatever, funny money, it just goes right into an account at their store. Easy. I didn't have to do a thing. It literally just keeps tracking in my account. I do nothing and it just builds over the year because I make so much money. You know, I'm so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
but what you don't know is I
first.
have my kids play and it all just goes to my account too. So I'm just
Yeah.
loading up money. And then, lately, they've been doing what I love. Whether you hate it or love it, I don't care. I liked it because I have so much player pack stuff. They just started putting a dollar amount value to their player pack, and you just get it in your account when you play their event. I love that too
Oh, okay.
because I'm like, I don't need another frisbee.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. So I actually liked it. Long story short, I bought like a $500 basket and they let me apply all of it to a basket. Now, I don't know if that was special for me, so you might want to reach out and ask, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you can use like any of your credits, any of your gift
That's
cards,
awesome.
anything to get what you want through this store. It's amazing. I got the Innova Pro 28. It was wonderful.
Very nice.
So, do we have any more? Yes, we do.
Whoa.
Do.
Oh, I'm getting tired.
We'll let you lead this one, Josh. Okay, here's what it is. Nick, it's the new year. What are you doing tomorrow?
It is. Guys, everybody, guys and gals, I'm leaving.
The show.
I'm leaving the Nick and Matt show to join Staggered Stance. But no, on a more serious note, I am leaving the wonderful cold state of Massachusetts to head down south. And a lot of you know that I lived in Virginia for the past 3 years, but I earlier this year, decided to move back home, work at my old job for a little bit while some new opportunities were kind of in the works. And I've had to stay pretty hush-hush about all this because we've been dealing with a lot, I think, that goes into it. But I'll just ask you guys, and I'll ask the chat, does anybody know what the course Olympus is? Big time, big gasps all around. So Olympus, as everyone knows, is now the host of the Disc Golf Pro Tour All-Star event, and then also the Chess.com Invitational at the end of February. I think it's the third week and the fourth week, or the second week and the third week. Anyways, we have a lot of really, really, really awesome visions going into that property and that course and what we're planning on doing with it, with events, tournaments, everything like that, the crew that we have there. But I'm actually moving down there to be the manager and kind of course pro. So if anyone in the Tampa Bay area is looking for some lessons, come hit me up. I'm kind of moving my life more into, I would say, business side of disc golf, trying to get a little bit more into that rather than, I'm not striving to be on the pro tour anymore. If I get the opportunity to play another event like Worlds or something like that, I mean, obviously I would love to play it, but for the most part, I am just going down to pretty much start a new job opportunity, and I am hella anxious about it. I've been feeling it all day as I've been packing, and I think the main reason why I'm anxious about it is because I'm, my whole family lives up here, so obviously I love spending time with them. I love hanging out with my family, and so yeah, big move down to Florida, and I'm actually leaving probably in about 24 hours. I'm gonna drive down to Virginia, stop there, grab the rest of my stuff, and where I was living in Virginia.
Is this sad or happy?
And then no, it's happy.
Okay.
And then going down to Brooksville, Florida. I'm super excited. Got an apartment all set up, and we're gonna have a kick-ass pro tour tournament there. I'll tell you that much.
That's exciting.
So, and all-star event.
And Common said you gotta wear togas as your uniform.
I'm down. I mean, for how hot it's going to be there, I think that's probably going to be perfect. So
yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Pretty much, like I said, it'll be running the property. As a lot of ideas that Paul and Dylan have behind it are going to kind of be on my shoulders to make happen. And we have, like I said, we have an awesome crew that is going to put on an incredible event. Shout out to Jeff Corns for being the tournament director of the Chess.com Invitational. Just wait till everybody sees what's kind of going into that event. It's awesome. And once again, I'm just super excited for it. I'm not super excited for the 20-hour drive that it's going to take, but I'm excited to be down there.
You can just listen to this episode on repeat.
What's that? Yeah, I know, right?
So the chat is on fire tonight, which is awesome. And I don't mean dumpster fire. I just mean you guys are really bringing it home, entertaining us in this 2024 season. Think of this question, like, for those listening, if you were asked, and yes, I'm talking to you, whoever you are, I'll pick a name. Ready? Kevin. Kevin, if you're listening, let us know that I talked to you. That'd be great. Be like, it was me. But Kevin, if Paul Macbeth and Dylan Cease, Dylan of the Chicago White Sox currently, was like, hey, Kevin, you like disc golf and you want to come manage a pro shop at Olympus, the new course, throw down the mountain, the sweet place that it was, it's going to be amazing. We're going to build stuff and have stuff and you get to manage it. Like, how many of you are saying no to that?
Yeah.
Probably not many. And Nick, you got that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We're going to build on that property, and what our visions are for it. We're going to build the best complex in all of disc golf.
Goal!
We'll be there.
Where's the fire take?
Yeah.
Do we have a 4-up fire? No, I don't know.
We got to work on it.
That's what's going to happen. If, we get to do what we want to do, it's going to be the most incredible place.
Westy Acres in the chat here is like, they're going to bring it too.
Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait for everyone to come down and play it. We spent some time out there just kind of reworking the course. Ken Climo came out. I sent you guys the picture. Ken Climo and Charlie Goodpasture came out and hung out for a bit. They were able to go through the course and look at a couple of the, things that are going on there, and they loved all of it. And
he was like
meeting, seeing Kenny, talking with him, just about past and present. And if you guys haven't seen it, go check out the video that Paul and Dylan had posted. It kind of talks about why the name became. It went from the Grand Canyon course to throw down the mountain to now Olympus, and it talks about why they chose that name as Olympus and just all the legends that have been there, the legends of Olympus. And yeah, it's an
incredible name.
It's
so
gonna
many
be awesome.
Name changes. That
super
one's
stoked.
incredible.
It's true.
I'm super stoked. But I'm still gonna be on the show. So I know someone asked that earlier. I'm still going to be on the show. I will be at the expo. I actually got to look at some plane tickets, but I will be flying back up for that.
Exclusive.
To make sure
Wow,
that Staggered
why are we all
Stance has
so
a full
excited?
presence.
Nick's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? What do you guys think I wasn't? Come on. I know I missed it last year. Can't miss it 2 years in a row.
No, you don't miss it the second year. In
No,
all
I'll make sure I'm
seriousness,
up there.
It was already awesome.
Ben, let's just talk about it really quick. What are the dates for the expo?
The Northeast Disc Golf Expo was January 27th and 28th.
Okay, thank God. Because the week before that, I have a wedding in Georgia, and I was like, I swear to God, if it falls on that weekend, I wouldn't be able to go.
He's just sitting here. He's like, tell
I'd
us,
be a single man.
So we got a lot of exciting. We got pretty much every major manufacturer vending their Discraft, Innova, MVP, Prodigy, Thought Space. There's going to be Neptune Disc from Virginia, and there's a few more that I have not.
I heard Staggered Stance will be there.
Staggered Stance will, in fact, be there with a booth, so you can meet all of us and hang out. I will be running the event, so I'm not going to be at the booth, but I will be around.
He spends time at the booth. Don't let him fool you.
I'll be around.
Intern Ben has to make an appearance every now and then.
And it's gonna be an awesome time. If you love disc golf, this show, I doubled the venue, and it's gonna be bigger and better. So if you came last year, get ready to get your socks blown off, because there's going to be a lot of amazing drops and exclusive deals. And shout out Paragon for sponsoring the expo as well.
That'll do, my friends.
Yeah. Even when Evan's not here, we have Evan here.
That'll do, my friends.
Okay.
That'll do, my friends.
By the way, if you're looking at the YouTube screen, it's hard for this to work out this way, but you'll notice I look like this. I'm actually now looking at intern Ben. It's excellent. Look, if you see on screen,
on the screen, you're looking at intern Ben as well. Yeah.
It doesn't always work out that way due to how things are set up with cameras. Cool. But for once, it used to be like I'd be like looking sideways. Hey Ben,
so Josh just has to look to the right.
Well, if I look this way, I'm looking at Ben.
Yep.
I look this way all the way around the world. I'm looking at Nick.
Exactly.
Oh, by the way, tickets to the expo will be in the Staggered Stance description. So if you want to buy some.
So we started the show off as the Nick and Matt show. What we're gonna say is like this is the last Nick and Matt show as the name, the Nick and Matt show. As you see, like it's not changed on here, but we're working on it. Everything should be rolled out. We would hope by next week's episodes. There's a lot going on. I'm traveling 2 times this month. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I'm able to make it on. But the point is, we have a really solid structure here that we should be able to bring you content every week, forever. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a little too much of a promise. But yeah, between the expo, that's massive. Nick going down to Florida to manage Olympus.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yep.
Our episode presenting sponsor for the whole year, Disc Golf 978. Massive. Name change is massive. Mm-hmm. Even if the show's like, I think we're upgrading the show, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But the show's name change is pretty big deal. And then we're going to be able to maintain Evan, and that's massive. And bringing Josh in and Ben now having an actual seat on the show. No, I'm not on the floor, washing my feet.
Yeah, and I'm no longer getting paid in jerky. I'm getting paid in jerky and Izzy's. And sour gummy worms. So I got a little bonus structure going on of the food I'm getting given. So it's nice.
Stoked. By the way, some of you have like super chatted us. Like that's really awesome. It does, YouTube's not super friendly with how much they take out of it. But what you do provide us, we use. Just to give you guys a scoop, what we did, we actually, after our last show we recorded, our mixer literally that was me spitting.
That's why we were 30 minutes late too.
Done. Literally. It was done. Like trash. Like you throw it away. And I was like, we just recorded last night. I had to go out and buy a full audio interface, 8 inputs, 12 outputs. It's really awesome. I did a lot of work to set it up. There's a lot of different things that are happening on our end that hopefully you don't recognize, but we still have to kind of tie things together here. But I wanted to point out we use money that we do get for that kind of stuff. And we're really excited to have it. Hopefully it helps us out in some places, but I think we have to upgrade the computer next. Okay. That was Disc Golf podcast talk, like about the podcast and everything that's going on with it. The first 45 minutes, we actually are going to talk disc golf. There's so much happening right now in the world of disc golf. Let's see where we land. We can talk about some of these, and if we feel like it's going crazy, we'll just move on from it. But honestly, the announcement of the All-Star Weekend at Olympus was a thing. Mm-hmm. What is it going to take to get that prepared, Nick? I mean, do you know?
Yeah, I have a general idea. I don't know how much I can speak on
Ooh.
things like that because there's obviously still so many things in the works with it, so I don't know exactly what I can speak on with it. But yeah, it's going to be an awesome time. It's so funny because it's the off season up here. It's the off season everywhere in the world for disc golf right now. Maybe not Australia,
but
it's their summertime. Weather-wise, yeah, and like there's not a lot of tournaments going on right now, but. We went out to the course. I was there, three or 4 weeks ago, something like that. Maybe, yeah, the beginning of December. I went down there for, I think, 7 days to prepare a lot of things with, I want to shout out Dylan Cease's crew that he's partners with at Cactus Rock with his hands landscaping company. They are by far the hardest workers I've ever met, and they can make kind of a vision into a reality, and the work that those guys do, especially over at Cactus Rock. I got to see a lot of the pictures and the videos, but then actually being able to see it firsthand at Olympus, the things that those guys do is absolutely incredible.
I got to meet them at Fenway Park.
Yep.
Just super cool guys. Now, if you're listening, they listen to the show too.
Nick,
that's not
Nigel,
why I'm saying it.
They're absolutely incredible. We
Nigel,
spent the week together. Nigel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not just saying this because they listen, but like they listen and they like the show. But I was like, you guys are killing it. Like,
oh my gosh.
It's mutual respect both ways.
It's insanity.
Way to go, guys.
So they came out the beginning of December. We had Jeff Corns out there, me, Paul, Dylan. We had some people actually come in to check out the course and everything like that, and just kind of getting the work going to get these tournaments rolling. It's been awesome, but we're 100% going to be ready for the tournaments, and we're going to have a pretty awesome time out there.
So, in other news, because we're just going to keep moving along, I'm going to throw this one to Josh to get his reaction on it, but it was kind of hush-hush in the sense that I didn't see any big advertisement, and I'm actually curious to know if you guys heard this. The executive director of the PDGA has retired. I don't know if you heard that. Joe Chargoloff, no longer PDGA executive director. Yeah. Josh, what do you think?
Boom, boom, boom. I think I broke that news to you. Yeah.
I'm just going to stay quiet.
That's the fact that it's barely known is an interesting outcome. What I mean by that is
it could be
how
a good
much
thing,
of a
right?
splash.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say a good director, in my opinion, makes a significant impact on any organization. But I don't know if you necessarily have to be public in the way you do that or not, right? He was obviously very quiet. I think many people may not even know the name. Obviously, a lot of listeners to this show, if you really follow disc golf, you may know. But that second click, that second circle of disc golf fans probably have no idea who he is. You could argue if that's good or bad. But yeah, he's retiring. I think it was at the end of the year. So today is 2024. I don't know the official date and transition. Obviously, the board's going to have to select a new director. I have some thoughts on how that may play out, just kind of looking at how this has happened up to this point. But to be clear, any director that's brought in should have a significant influence on the future direction of the organization. And the organization, the PDGA, influences a lot of what we consume, what we talk about, obviously the pro scene. So it'll be interesting. Even over the next year, 2, 3 years, it probably takes that long for some of that stuff to really take shape. But we'll see if it's a continuation of the same trajectory of what we've seen, everything we love about it, everything we hate about it, or if there will be some changes as a result of new leadership being brought in. Joe, there's probably varying opinions on how the PDGA has handled stuff, and the buck does stop with the leader. So I think there's probably mixed opinions for sure out there. One thing that he can certainly point to is a significant growth of the sport while he was, leading the PDGA. And certainly there may have been some tailwinds that helped boost him along, right? The pickup of the sport from COVID, et cetera. But there's no question from the time he joined till now that the sport is more prominent, more awareness. Whether or not you think he deserves any credit is probably up for debate. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
I've had personal conversations with him. Whether he handed the trophy to my son or not, he shook my son's hand after his world champion win and said, it looked at Tanner in the face and said, Tanner, you will always be a world champion and no one can ever take that away from you. Very cool moment to have the executive director of the PDGA have a moment like that with your 8-year-old at the time. Very neat. again, varying opinions on how everything was done and handled at the PDGA, but the person at the top, you either like people like that or you don't like them. I mean, it's just part of the job. And I think what he did not collapse the PDGA. It was nothing that he did caused it to tank. And frankly, I think navigating through COVID was pretty spectacular. Again, whether was he the one, he was the leader of the ship, if you will. Any thoughts from you guys? Did you guys know that? It was honestly,
No.
I didn't know till Josh told me.
No,
I did not know.
I've met him, I don't know, once or twice in my travels through big events that I've gone to, but I don't think I've really ever had all that serious of a conversation with him. I think it was just more, hey, nice to meet you, my name's Nick, kind of thing. But
You listen to the show?
yeah, exactly. I think
he knew our show for sure.
Yeah, it's, he's one of those people where, yeah, he's the executive director of it, but he still has a team in place of what's going on. Like you have a president, you have a vice president of the board and stuff like that. So, doesn't all fall on him, but at the same time, go ahead.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't require you to hear anything from a director. To your point,
Exactly.
Nick, if you've got a good team, then the execution of your vision should be happening. And so that's why I was saying it doesn't really matter if you know him or not, but you do know the outcome of his leadership at the end of the day, right? It does stop with what they've done. And we've probably seen a mixture of responses to certain situations, but it's interesting. Any good leader also is constantly thinking ahead about true development of their team and succession planning. And I have zero insight other than my own observations, not even one conversation with anybody about this. But I find it interesting that over the last year, you see Doug Bjerkes join the PDGA. I wouldn't be surprised if there were discussions of potential succession planning and career development opportunities. Obviously, nobody gets ushered in alone. The board still has to make those decisions, and there may be a legitimate opening for candidates to go through that process. But I think there probably are a handful of names that I would hope Joe and the board had already been considering. As
Josh
they most likely knew that Joe was going to be retiring. He didn't decide that last month.
Yeah.
He may have known for the last 2 or 3 years. It's possible.
Yep.
Great insight. And I think that's why you're on the show.
That's why you're on the show.
Because I think we would have eventually gotten there, maybe, or later on this week, we'd be like, oh, this is all the things we should think about. But you're another opinion on the show, and we really appreciate that, because the reality is you're right, and that you don't need me to say that for you to be right. But I think Doug Bjerkes, fantastic observation, whether he is or he isn't. I just got stoked. I really like what Doug does in the sport. I think he would be fantastic. Now, I don't know if they usually promote from within. I know that Joe actually came from outside. I think he was military.
I think
in
he
his
had a very strong
organization
military
or something.
background.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that would be awesome. Great opinion there. I don't think we have much more to speculate on that, but that was some news that I thought people would appreciate hearing about the executive director. Or is it possible for Nate Heinold, the most hated man in disc? No, I'm kidding. Nate, love you. He's like, this is my last year president of the board, guys, because no, just kidding.
If he does that, he's just taking over all of disc golf. It'll just be like the new
monopoly, man.
They will, they'll rebrand the sport of disc golf, just like we rebranded our show. It'll no longer be called disc golf. It'll be something else.
Well, you're getting the love in the chat. Says, I like Josh. I was always wondering why I haven't seen him in a long time. There you go.
Josh, you're a beautiful human, and that's why on your show. Another
You're a
comment
beautiful
from
human?
Daniel.
Oh my. Daniel
your arch
said that.
nemesis, which
Yeah,
is
Daniel said
He's
earlier
like,
here on
oh
the
my
show,
gosh, I
which
didn't
is
realize it was
crazy.
Monday.
I think Daniel joined late after
did.
I challenged him to a healthy debate at the beginning of the show.
we gotta set that
About
up.
nothing, though.
Daniel versus Josh.
We have a long time to get to
We
that.
have a long season ahead of us.
For those listening on their podcast, driving around or at work, you've heard us talk about Daniel enough, but we get to see in the chat random different weeks where Josh and Daniel would go back and forth. Now, really fun and entertaining, sometimes distracting for us when we're talking, but that happens. Okay, moving on from that. This is also big, incredible news. It's for people who listen to our podcast and nothing else, which is probably rare, but there are some of you. We're going to cover everything. Pro Worlds, Finland, right? Finland, Europe.
Yeah.
So
2025.
that is going to be epic. There's a lot of details that could be discussed here, and I'll open this up. Some are concerned about the field of strength.
Yeah, I know, right?
Some are concerned about the strength of the field.
The strength of the
I
field.
had to do a throwback, especially without Evan here, but the strength of the field, some are concerned. I have zero concern about that. And then it comes down to, I think, the audience size, the value, the epicness, that's a word I'll make up, of what this event will be is going to be through the roof. Think of the European Open this year.
Mhm.
That was, again, just one of the best shows ever. Corey winning at just the event. I know that's not where this is happening, but my point is they do a lot right over there. And for this to be
one of the courses that it's happening at.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, the Beast and Tampere Disc Golf Park.
And the other one.
Tampere.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'm trying to remember if I've watched that course. I think I have.
From a lot of the pros that I've talked to, they say it's arguably one of the best courses in the world.
Yeah.
When it comes to the design and actual play of it, it's one of the best courses in the world.
I'm curious about the European Open has always been free to go, and that's why there's been crowds. I'm curious if they're gonna keep that for Worlds. I doubt it, but I'd if they don't, I'd like to see if that would change the crowd. I don't know.
You
if
say European Open's free to go to?
Yeah,
I think so.
That's why.
Oh, is it
that's
really?
why
Yeah,
those crowds are massive because it's like you're on the park. You just show up.
I brought that up.
Well, I mean,
once
I'll tell you this: if you
DGA,
told every single one of those people that it was $10 for a day pass, I think every single one of them would pay it.
That's what I'm saying.
They're just diehard
I think the
fans out there.
value is there. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I also think that there probably is something to be said about free, where now you bring your girlfriend who might not have went.
Yeah.
Just
I get it.
I think there might be numbers increase.
I
there.
never knew that it was free.
Yeah.
So that's
I never knew
one,
that whatsoever.
one of the big. But
Yeah, it is basically impossible for them to restrict crowd flow on the location where they're at. And also at the time, like UC just didn't feel it was a return on that. Like school kids showing up, all these different people right there, everybody, every pro. I understand why, but it's a little funny. It's almost like talking points. Every pro who talks about European disc golf is like, it's amazing. The kids are everywhere, which by the way is awesome. So I'm not downplaying it. That is amazing. It kind of shows how deep seated the sport is. But right when you talk about paying, that's all part of the equation. Plus, they couldn't lock down that property.
Yeah.
Nope. I get that.
It's going to be epic. That's without diving into every talking point of Pro Worlds in Europe. I'm just going to say it should be epic.
It definitely will be epic. It will be epic.
On the
I don't think
fan
it
side,
should be. I think it will be.
Maybe
And
I should go just to be there.
I mean, honestly, realistically, like if
Staggered
the
Stance.
opportunity
Here we
came
go.
up to go out there and do it in any sort of fashion, then I'll 100% be out there.
It'd be awesome.
One last thing I gotta say: the strength of the field. I know everyone's worried about that. We're talking about the World Championships.
There's no worry this
Everyone
far
who
out.
is strong enough to compete at the World Championships, and you could look at this person potentially winning. You will have all of those players there.
That's what I'm saying.
They will be signing up for that event. You're not going to get every single player that we see on the Disc Golf Pro Tour here in the U.S., but you will get our top 20, our top 30, our top 40, our top 50, more than likely, going out to try to compete at a World Championship. And I think because our sport, we've seen Paul and Ricky have been at the top for so many years, and that has slowly come down just a little bit to where now you have the Gannon, you have the Isaac Robinsons, you have those players, to where who's the next top 20 player in the world or top 10 player in the world to make that splash and jump up there. I think there's going to be players who are in the top 30 who are going to end up in the top 15 this year. I mean, that's a whole other talk. I think, preseason talk, but the strength of the field will be very high.
Well, I think another addition to that is there's a lot of good European players that can't just make it over to the United States like that.
It goes both ways, but it is definitely more staggered towards the U.S.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
It's stacked here.
I'm just saying, I think there's going to be some European players that can't play and use it, but now they're going to enhance the field of strength for the
European Tour. Well, I don't want to call it that. The Disc Golf Pro Tour in Europe this last year, whatever you want to call it. Evan would correct me and be like, there's the Euro Tour, the PDGA. Anyways. We've been able to, thanks to DGN, see so much more of these Europeans competing. So you could see when Paul was playing a lot of those events, you could watch those. And frankly, whether Paul was at his best or not, I haven't talked to Paul about that. But there were players that were keeping up or surpassing him, right? So there's definitely good players. That's not the conversation. I think that was a great point about how many. We're going to see more from Europe, I'm sure, than US. But that's okay. That's okay. Because I don't think we need to see the 76th player. While they might want to compete in Worlds, well, that's great. They want to. Like, I'm not concerned that the 76th player is going to have a contention to win in most scenarios. Parker Welk being a very far outlier when that happened.
Hey, and by the way, if the 70th person, so here's my advice to any players listening who are lamenting their ability to get to Europe. If you truly believe in your heart that you can win the World Championships, I cannot imagine you wouldn't find a way to get there.
Right.
Exactly.
And if you're like, well, I'm not sure if I can win, so I don't know if it's a good return on investment, then that's the point.
Right.
Like, so you don't have to go. If you're sitting there and you're like, I know I could do it, then like you're going to go because you know you could do it. Whether you do it or not is a different story. Right. But it's just like most of the people are like, oh, it sucks, I can't get there, or the strength of the field isn't going to be high enough.
It will be.
Yeah, I don't know.
It will be.
What about FPO though? That's because we've seen the European Open FPO field not be anywhere.
So
yeah, but you're talking about a lot of FPO players out in the world who, like, this is before our preseason talk, which we'll probably do in the next few weeks, but I think Holland Hanley is going to be top 3 in the world next year on the FPO side.
A good prediction.
And so someone like who's working, I think, as hard as she's working this offseason, whether they're a top 10 or top 15 player, could go out and win that tournament. Now, the strength of the field won't be as strong in the FPO division. I think in the MPO division, it will be. The FPO may be a little bit differently just because of the return on investment, like Josh was just talking about. But yeah, you're still going to see the strongest of the American players going over there.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, for the World Championships, and I don't know how every single sponsorship works, disc manufacturer works with their top players, but I think a lot of disc manufacturers should or will pony up some extra money to get their best players in the world, or even their really good players in the world.
Yeah.
Get them, help them out, get over to Europe, whether it's, hey, I'll give you an extra 300 fundraiser discs, sell them at $20 a pop or whatever, and see what money you can make and put that towards a European fund, whatever. However it will have to work. I think a lot of manufacturers in 2025 will be helping out their players get over to. We're talking about a tournament that's 2 years away. The sport could
at least 18 months.
Yeah, the sport could blow up even more to where you might see a person at the World Championships win $100,000 by 2025. Who knows? The right investment might come in.
What about the chess.com Invitational?
I mean, I think that's one of the biggest sponsorships outside of disc golf. I think like LL Bean, Barbasol, Guaranteed Rate, I think was one of them one year for the Pro Tour Championships. But this is, a Pro Tour event, the first one of the 2024 season with chess.com.
I like it.
Opening up, yeah. It's been a really exciting. I've been able to kind of
learn chess a little.
No, so I actually
I
actually learned chess a little bit last year when I was kind of bored.
Nice.
Going to tournaments when you have some free time, I would just play on chess.com. And I like watching streamers do what they're good at. And I've watched a lot of chess streamers. I've watched Magnus Carlsen play in tournaments, the Blitz tournaments, and I'm nowhere near a good chess player. Like any average player would probably kick my butt at it. But yeah, it's a really exciting sponsorship that we have for that tournament.
And I just want to reiterate, just so people can kind of hear like the grasp what chess.com. They acquired Play Magnus in 2022 for $80 million.
It's like the live of golf.
Yeah, they paid a company. They acquired a company for $80 million. This isn't some just like Bush League sponsorship. This is a big money sponsorship. And if they can,
you're talking about chess.com?
Yes.
Chess.com is the biggest streaming website in all of the chess world. I mean, every top chess player, especially who streams in their life, like the company's amazing.
Yeah.
And actually,
a lot of money.
Funny enough, Magnus Carlsen, his brother-in-law, is a top 20 disc golfer in Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. One of the across the pond, his brother-in-law plays, so he's actually gone out and played a couple times, from what I've heard.
So that is big, and Worlds is going to be big. Moving on from that, we broke it here. Somehow, some way, our rando game that we played, literally unplanned.
Good job, man.
No, well, yeah, it was lucky.
You.
Yeah, it was just lucky. Like I played
a
game, and I'm
but
like,
we figured it out. But you brought it. You brought
true. It's just the way it all came together is pretty fun. I wish it was for someone bigger like Eagle. We figured it, but like Chris Clemens, he announced he's left. He hasn't said where he's going. People have seen his vehicle at Discraft or wherever else.
Have they?
I think it was Discraft.
Really? Yes.
Yeah, Discraft.
That's what I've heard.
Yes. They're like, oh, we've seen his van at Discraft. And this
also saw his van at Walmart, but
Yeah.
Ooh, big time. Could be Planet Fitness too.
This has happened a few times now. James Conrad, the MVP. Simon, yeah. Okay.
I think Simon
at the airport.
Didn't Simon go to Discraft? Huh? At one point, maybe? I don't know. He was talking about being in the airports, hoping people didn't see him. I don't remember where he was, what airport. He probably wasn't going to Discraft, of course, but anyways, that has happened.
Oh yeah, it's
so
the Michigan, Detroit. I'm guessing.
His place
if-
for MVP.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
he was, oh right, oh that's thank you. I
Yeah.
got it all messed up. Simon, if you're listening, you're like, what are you saying, Matt? Yeah, I don't even know. What
I know what you
it was
meant.
Detroit. It was the airport.
Yeah,
I didn't mean.
I know what you
Discraft.
meant.
So that happened. We broke it. Cool. Maybe we'll get that interview.
Mhm.
We'll talk about it. I kind of wonder how it feels when someone like the Pro Tour posts and they're like, is he the best lefty disc golfer ever? And I'm like, is that like a slight at somebody you have to like classify?
Yeah.
Like the best, like, I don't know. I think it's nice he got the attention, but
I
I'm
think
at
he
the,
is personally.
at the same time. I know, but we have to classify.
Well, I think being
best
a lefty is a huge disadvantage, personally.
How many
one
lefties
of the,
are on
To be
tour?
one of the greatest, I should say.
that you know about. Like,
What'd you say?
how many lefties that you know about?
We'll take.
I'm saying,
I'll give you three.
I was just
Chris
gonna say,
Clemens,
yep.
Austin Turner, Zach Mellon.
there you go.
Brian
Or
Earhart. He doesn't
Zach
play anymore.
Arlinghouse.
Well, Brian's not really on the tour
Yeah,
anymore.
Ryan
per se.
used to be, but yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Arlinghouse,
Okay,
another
Zach.
Discraft sponsor player. So there's
So,
5.
so there's, yeah, let's
Four.
just say like that
Four.
we know maybe we could come up
Yeah.
with 2 more. There's not that many. And so that was only my point is like, obviously good job. You're in that list if they're saying you're the best, but it's just kind of funny to put it that way. I don't know. What could you do for righty players? You're like, is he the best? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't say righty because
Nathan
that's
Queen,
like everybody.
Another good one. Thank
Nathan
you.
Quinn, yeah, that's a great one. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, good call.
Nathan Quinn. Queen
Moving
Pro
on
Tour
from that,
championship winner.
just announced today, Innova. I found out yesterday because my kids are in the Team Innova group and they're like, don't let this get out from you guys. And I'm like, it won't
And
be
now
from
you're
me. I just
announcing
have a
it.
talk
No,
show.
I'm just kidding.
But Emerson Keith moved to Innova
Mhm.
from Lone Star. Now, if you're like, where is he coming from? He's from Lone Star. And Lisa Fakis, I'm not saying she went to Innova, but Lisa Fakis also left Lone Star.
Mhm.
And we're going to do a little like,
Chandler Kramer left Lone Star.
we're going to look at a little recount here in a minute of
Yeah.
like some of these companies, what's happening. But that was quick. And Emerson posted today on New Year's Day saying that he's revisiting or refreshing with his childhood, like kind of start in disc golf. So like he kind of feels like he's back. So that's good.
Gotcha.
For our live listening audience, some people are saying that ads are
yeah.
popping up, but I'm going to click delay. They shouldn't have, but I don't know. If
I had it streaming on another device, and I've seen like 4 ads during our show at least.
Really?
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
That's what we're not normally like that, right?
Yeah,
No.
that's not our intention. We're not money hungry. You know, this is a big announcement. We weren't like, oh, there's gonna be so many.
Oh, I thought I was getting paid. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
We've
we are.
talked about ways to get rid of YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get like sponsors to do that too. But all right, I think maybe I fixed that possibly. Sorry for everyone listening. Post, you didn't need to
That
hear
was
that.
an
But
accident.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big announcement just in general. Emerson leaving Lone Star because he had signed with them prior to the
And
2023
won. He won with
season,
them.
won the OTB Open, and then had even said in his post, and I applaud him for this, is, you know, he had thought that this was kind of going to be more of a, you know, building relationship with them, and it seemed like it was cut short. Now, I think I'm talking about Emerson's post, but he was very real and very honest about kind of the departure. And I do appreciate that out of a pro. He didn't badmouth the company in a sense of like he didn't trash on them or anything, but
he's got a family now.
Yep.
I mean, these things matter a little bit. I don't mean to say that people who don't have a family don't matter, but I just mean you have more people that you're helping take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So
Yeah,
we'll
big move
talk
to Innova.
we'll talk more about the Lone Star thing in a minute. But Emerson announced this is January 1st when we're recording. There's going to be more that come out. We'll talk about those too. I thought this one was really I don't know if I'd say really interesting, but worth noting. On our show, fandom survey, Jesse Weiss, I always get that messed up. Is it Weiss? Weiss. I think it's Weiss.
I think it's Weiss.
Why? He's going to text me right now.
I think it's Weiss. Weiss.
I asked him last time he was on the show. I apologize. He helped, put together this fandom survey, and one of the results of favorite players to least favorite, like players that you're, I think he said it was rooting against.
Mm-hmm.
Almost at the bottom, besides Natalie Ryan
who's this?
and Nico, was Joel Freeman.
Oh yeah.
Like right there. And we were all like, oh, here's why we think, and here's what. He made a post today that ultimately said, I'm getting professional help. I've talked about changing for years, and I'm not quoting right now. I'm not reading it off of anything. I'm just recalling. Talked about getting help for years, and I'm doing something like active towards getting better with this.
Good for him.
And at first I thought to myself, don't say something till you've done something. And I think that's what he was doing. I think he was saying something because he has done something. He's made an active move. But in the past, what we've seen with Joel, and this is where I think some of that bad rap came from, is like he would respond and say things that were blame focused, right? So almost like, I'll do better next time. And people don't love to see that. But I think they're seeing this as action. And a lot of people are giving him major kudos for saying this. And I think,
kudos for sure.
And I think
That's
because
huge.
It's public, like he's a public person, he's an entertainer, as you will, in the sports world. I think it was important for him to do this.
For getting help or publicly announcing
to
it?
publicly announce it.
I think
because
both, definitely. But yeah, publicly
when you
announcing
see yourself down at the bottom, and that's a public survey that had who knows how many thousands of people seeing it, and you're a sports competitor, you can either be the best in the world and say, I don't care, or I think you do need to make some public address of it. And I bet you that survey hit him pretty hard. I have not texted or asked him.
Yeah.
But I bet you, how would it hit you if you're like, dude, out of everybody surveyed, like I'm the least, like
if I was the least favorite person, like if you were to take it and say like, hey, Nick Carl's the least favorite person on the tour right now, my whole marketing and branding in disc golf is shot to hell then and there. Like, how am I supposed to sell discs? How am I supposed to move plastic or sell shirts or do all these things where I'm literally the least liked player on tour? A majority of the money that a lot of these pros get is from moving Tour Series discs and moving Signature Series discs and stuff like that, to where that's how they make a majority, like a lot of their living. Especially, Joel Freeman's probably not sitting on a $250,000 a year salary, so he needs to have a brand that also, like, if he comes out with a Gator 3, he needs to make sure that he's a likable person, he has a following, and people will buy that Tour Series disc. So, yeah, if you see your name pop up on that, it's like, okay, what are the first steps to make this better? Getting professional help. The worst thing that someone can do is apologize for their actions, but then consistently still do the same actions over and over and over. It's just kind of like you're wasting your breath apologizing about it. Do what you want to do, but stop apologizing. If you want to be that person, be that person. Don't apologize for it if you're not going to do the necessary steps to fix the problem publicly. And I don't think Joel needed to publicly announce that he's getting help, but I think for his branding, I do think it helps that it, and just the honesty aspect of it. If there are things that are out there, like Joel is an honest person with how he is, he knows he has an issue of why he may be the way that he is. But yeah, saying that he's going to get public help for it, I mean, kudos to him. It's a tough lifestyle. I know everyone dreams about being a professional disc golfer, and everyone thinks it's the most glamorous lifestyle in the world. But it can be a very lonely lifestyle. It can be a very hard lifestyle. Like unless you're a top player with a top brand and you're making a lot of money from the sport, you are really hurting your future in some ways if you are not getting to that level. Like, you're not getting health insurance. You're paying for all the health insurance out of your pocket. You're probably only breaking even throughout the tour. So you're not putting anything into a retirement, 401k, investing, anything like that. And you're taking away years at your life to where the average person, the everyday person, like for me, to get where I'm at with my job currently, I had to work for 3-5 years off and on with the company. But now I'm at a spot where I know I'm leaving it right now to go down to Florida. But if I was to stay in Massachusetts, the money that I make is like, I make more in one day than I do at my best B tier wins. I make more in one day at my job. Disc golf is such a fun and glamorous lifestyle. But when it comes to what am I savings, and I know I'm a very, very average player, and I'm a better local player than I ever was on the tour. But there are a lot of tour players out there who would thrive so much more being a local player.
Oh, so I will say this: Joel's also has a kid. He's expecting on the way.
Oh, that's right. An announcement of a kid.
Yeah, so he has a kid on the way. So that's probably part of it. And I would say this: I've gotten to talk to Joel on a personal level, just about just like life things, and he's a down to earth, genuine guy, very loving, very caring, and I can relate to him. Just sometimes when you're competitive, sometimes it's hard to simmer down and not let your emotions get the best of you.
Because I know you and I like you, I'm just like, this is when he implodes and I take the lead.
Yeah. So like
all the videos that we've done with Ben.
Yeah.
He misses one putt for 50
feet. I get down on myself. That's what I do. I really get down on myself. Yeah. And I know Joel probably has public whatever outbursts and stuff like that, but I just want to say, like, just because you see it on the course, he's not a bad guy. He's like a great guy. It's just, and I do appreciate that he's saying I'm getting help, and I think that's important. I think it's shouldn't be taboo to say I'm getting help. It should be an open book, and because that that's like we were saying, the world is a scary place, and we all need as much help as we can to be better people in this life.
Yeah, I mean, I need help with my disc golf throw forever.
Yeah.
Just not trying to make light of it, but you're right. We all need help. All right. Moving on topic here. I don't know if anybody saw this. Kristen Tattar has a tour manager now. She did not have one previously. What does this mean for her? I think from my perspective, and I'll open this up, Josh has sat quiet a little bit here. Maybe he goes, but she comes off as a professional, like appearance, the way she composes, the way she talks. But our interaction at a media level and her interaction with media in general, not even with us, communicates that she gets overwhelmed by, I don't think it's a language thing. Some players maybe, but for her, I think it generally is literally, I have so much going on and this is a lot and it's hard for me to stay on top of it. I'm overwhelmed. I get buried. I need a break. I need a vacation. I'm not talking negatively like boo on her. I'm saying I think that's a reality. Josh, do you have any thoughts on what like a tour manager might do for her, or a player manager? Like, I mean, just in general, I know of players that have this, but Kristen Tattar, do you think that's going to all of a sudden make it so she's unstoppable again?
Well, I mean, there's not a direct translation to having a manager to skill on the course, right? But there may be an indirect one. I mean, maybe it's a silly comparison, so I'll just kind of genericize this. But imagine anything that you do in life, if you could literally have an assistant cover off all the things that you might classify as administrative, but are important, right? Like, for me, myself, I'm not a professional disc golfer making this like my lifestyle, but it would just free up hours. Well, so what you do with those hours makes a difference. And then how about the mental capacity? Sometimes it's not only the hours, it's the fact of while I'm on the course.
So nice.
She could literally be thinking, yeah, like I have to make a decision if tomorrow I'm driving to the next event, or if I'm staying overnight somewhere else, and some media outlets trying to get me because they have a local show. Like, that's like, those are burdensome decisions. So I would just imagine it has to make a difference. What any particular player chooses to do with that, of course, you know, that will bear fruit or not. I would think it would have to be a positive outcome. To your point, she already seemed to be making wise decisions in general about how she's managed her career. So it's not likely, in fact, I think it seems obvious that she didn't choose this because it's like, I've now arrived, I get a manager. I think this was, I've assessed my situation, and for me to do better, I need a manager. And so to make that decision probably suggests there'll be better outcomes.
Once again, I love your insight, because you mentioned things like the actual practicality of, maybe she can now think, what do I want to have for dinner with my friends tonight? Like, instead of, oh, I'm stressing about, I got to line this Airbnb up or call this person, or this tournament wants me to come and I have to get back to them, and this podcast wants me on. And like, to somebody, I can relate, by the way. I am not good with containing the information of things that need to happen in my head. I use Siri a lot. I just tell my phone to remind me at X time, day, weeks, or whatever, so I can forget about it on purpose until I need to. So like, whether she's like that or not, I can relate. And I'm thinking, to your point, Josh, super practical. I'm excited to see just how that relieves her to be able to perform even better. So I can just be like, this is boring again. Just messing. But like, it will be incredible. At some point, it will stop being boring to me, though, because then it will become this epic historic run, which some will say already happened. But at some point, it starts getting out of hand. It's in the
process. It's still happening.
It's
still happening. I think having a tour manager on her side, I think is an incredible opportunity, and I think a great business move advantage for her. Being able to be in that position in general, like for me, setting up a lot of the stuff down in Florida, it's, you know, when I'm out working, I'm on my phone, you know, just as much as I am, you know, building a T-pad or whatever. And sometimes I'm in the middle of doing something, but then I get a phone call from one company or another company or someone else that I'm trying to work with. And if you're a professional player and you're trying to set up all these things, having that person to almost have your phone and be able to do all that stuff for you is incredible. I mean, you like to ask Siri, Matt. I literally have a contractor's notebook and a calendar that if someone says like, hey, I need to have a meeting, I write it down. I write down everything. And then that's how I look at my notebook every morning. This is what I have to do. This is who I have to call. This is what I have to order. and go from there. Now, for a professional player,
imagine you're able to like take that one step further and not even have to look at your notebook.
Exactly. And that's where that person, like if I'm hiring you and you're like, hey, Nick, you need to be on the phone with these people at 7:00. Hey, Nick, you need to be at this tournament at 7:00 on Friday or whatever. Having that to where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. Or, all right, sounds good. That's awesome. She can go out and now just focus solely on being a player, being a better player.
So just to wrap this topic up, this European Championships is where she referred to, I don't want to get his name wrong, but it's Matthias or Matthias. So you'd think it's like Matthew, but it's the other version of the Matthew. But the guy who TD'd that, is my understanding, it was in charge of that event, is who her tour manager, or how does she word it here? Stands as my manager. So as my manager and advisor, pivotal shift in my journey. With his expertise, I anticipate reaching new heights in my career, eager to traverse this uncharted path alongside him. Here's to the future and the exciting possibilities ahead. Welcome aboard, Matthias. By the way, Kristen writes very, I don't know what the right word is, eloquently. Creatively. It's interesting to read.
They're very,
yes.
Like, it's not that it's inspirational, but it's very enjoyable to read. Like, you feel like you got the whole story.
Yeah.
In just a post, and you're like, wow, I understood every single thing with that. I feel like she's posted so much more this offseason than I've ever seen her post in the past.
Maybe it's her manager.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, you mean her tour manager?
Yeah, well, I don't know if her tour manager makes all the personal posts. Like,
no, but honestly, it might free up her time to do more for her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I don't care for all the time. And a lot of professional players, they have someone else making their post for them. And all it is like, oh, yeah, I like that post. Go ahead and make it.
Daniel in the chat says, every time I read Kristen's post, it feels like Chat GPT.
See, I like...
Well, Chat GPT writes really good.
Yeah,
to be
maybe
clear.
it is, but
I don't know if he's saying that in a good way or a bad way.
But like, I enjoy reading her post and be like, wow, that was very, very well thought out. That was very articulated, you know.
Josh, open up Chat GPT and type in like, write up a post about finding a new tour manager like in disc golf, and then read it. See if it's similar.
Yeah,
by the way,
by
the way, give everybody the 30-second version. Like, what's a big part of your career job? You're working with a lot of AI bot stuff, right?
Yeah, I work for a major finance firm, but I don't work in finance personally. I do a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, natural language processing, generation, virtual assistants, other kind of AI model work. Most of the technology we build is internal facing for our company. But yeah, like that's definitely personal interest and a career of mine for many years now.
Let's build a Staggered Stance AI that actually responds as if they're us. Like, we have to teach them who we are, but that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Respond as if you're Nicholas Carl on this take. It'd be pretty funny. It would be funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have fun. Hey, but just I know we're moving off. I find it interesting, and Kristen's not the only one to have done this, but to even feel that they want to post about the fact that they're getting a tour manager. So that is actually, to me, another sign that she feels like this is actually a big deal to her, right? This is not just an administrative task like, we got to fulfill our responses to fan mail because we have to do it, right? This is like, she posts it. It's like, for her, this is actually a career move that's worth publicizing. And so I think that's just another evidence that it's a big enough deal. I think there probably are a few other top pros who have some form of somebody who's assisting them with things who don't announce it, because for them it's not transformative, it's just administrative. So I find that interesting.
I think there's a lot of people out there who are touring disc golfers who have a friend helping them out with a lot of things. So just someone that wants to be involved with it, and it might not even be a paid position, but someone who offers up the time to say, hey, I'll help you out with these things. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you can tell with Kristen's post that this is a paid position, I'm sure, that this guy is doing, and it's very, very probably professionally done. So I'm curious to see how it'll go for her. And maybe if we get an interview with her sometime this 2024 season, we'll be able to talk about it, say how much stress has this alleviated or how much stress has this caused? You know, it could go either way.
I would, on the top of my head, I know of 2 other like legit professional tour managers. There are more, but that's like, or no, maybe 4. But either way, it's not like a lot of people are able to do this, because they're not saying, hey, come do this for free for me. Like, it's a job. So And I have no idea about the dollar amount there, but that's awesome that they're able to do that. And they realize it's a business. They are a business. These players, like they have to figure out how to take their money and then build it and then make their business bigger. And they have to do this stuff. It's spending money to make money.
This whole sport, this whole thing we're doing is a business,
right?
By the way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, which is always really intriguing because we found ways to turn something that we enjoy doing on a course, which has its own like inherent appeal, right? It's an existential question. It's like we enjoy throwing a frisbee or a disc on a course, but then everything wrapped around it is a business, which by the way, some people hate, right? Like some people are not for that. And I get it, but literally everything, even us here, we're enjoying this because we enjoy talking about disc golf, which is great, right? You can enjoy it, but this wouldn't exist if the business aspect, and I'm not even saying income for us. I'm saying we wouldn't have pros to talk about. You wouldn't have manufacturers making discs. We'd be 3D printing our own things, throwing them around on a course.
4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago, besides Paul Macbeth and maybe one or two others, like people wouldn't make money in disc golf unless you were a manufacturer.
Not as a comfortable lifestyle.
No, just even in general. Like our
podcast,
podcast, when we started our podcast, if I reached out to somebody and said like, hey, we're getting X amount of listeners, like we want cash, they're like, ha ha ha, like we'll send you a mini.
Yeah.
Like it was like, trades. Mm-hmm. I've watched the progression since we've got into it from $0 to now that is the expectation. Like it cost money. Again, whether you like it or you don't, it's the business is elevating. It's making bigger opportunities for people. And there will always be the free aspect of disc golf. No worries.
There's always that great quote from The Dark Knight, and the Joker says he's like, never do anything for free if you're good at it. Oh. Just something like that, to where it's not that we don't want to do things for free, but it's more, this is time. Let's just talk about the podcast really quick. Now, the podcast isn't making us $1 million a year a piece.
Not yet.
And so we look at it as we are investing our time, we're investing our efforts. Matt has invested 1,000 times more than I've been able to invest into the show. And I think just when it comes to time, effort, and everything like that, Matt has gone above and beyond for what we are able to use on the show right now. But all of that, it takes time, it takes money, it takes time away from Matt's family, it takes time away from Matt's paycheck or whatever.
It's surprising how much work has to go in to get this product. But then I look around and I don't see a lot of other shows like what we're doing unless they're full-time making money off of it. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get to a level that's sustainable, that people like. So we appreciate everyone that's listening. I would say we do this for the love of it, and we do. That's actually why we do it. Yeah. But like we also need to upgrade stuff, and that's what we do. So like we're grassroots. You guys, a lot of you have been here since the beginning. We appreciate that. How about this? Have we finally arrived? Disc golf on The Simpsons. It often gets referred to of like future predictions and all that. And like, when did they write this episode? Was this like a big, but disc golf made it on The Simpsons. Homer throws and Bart helps him get an ace by cheating technically. And everyone's like well, it's great. It's about cheating. No, it's Bart Simpson.
It's a show. It's The Simpsons. If you take anything serious about The Simpsons, reevaluate some stuff in your life.
Playing on the course. I thought it was fun to see, like, if you froze it, screen grab, you can see they had Ken Climo on a sign there.
It says like as thrown grips by Ken Climo or something like that. It says Ken Climo on it, which is cool.
For whatever. It's just fun. It's not even a big deal, but it's fun to see it and just to catch your eye. That's something I do. Like, it's not someone throwing a football, it's someone throwing a frisbee into a basket. So that was cool.
So one of the signs said frisbee wax.
Yeah.
Do you think they listened to our show and were like, oh,
it's very possible.
Frisbee wax.
Very possible.
I'm going to add it.
What did it say?
Frisbee wax.
Frisbee wax.
Frisbee wax.
Like Ken Climo.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Frisbee wax as used by Ken Climo or something like that. That's right. You're right.
This, which is awesome.
Shout out Max Wax.
Yeah. So I just thought that was, anyways, it's just fun to see sometimes. Cornhole's been getting it a long time. I'm sure Cornhole's been on Simpsons before. Maybe not. That'd be fun to find out. All right, guys. Other talk. As we're just blowing through all these, we haven't been here for a little while, so we're just catching up on all these. But today, well, let me go back to yesterday first. Yesterday, Gannon Burr posted a video on a roller coaster.
Gannon Burr.
He was wearing a Prodigy hat, his favorite Prodigy hat. And they were videotaping as they were going around the roller coaster, as everybody does nowadays, I'm sure. Maybe. And his hat whipped off and he lost his favorite Prodigy hat, and he made a post about it. And he's like, I might have to get my favorite Prodigy hat My dad had a similar one, so maybe I can get it back again. The day before January 1st, I lost my favorite Prodigy hat.
Damn, you guys look into those things way more than I do. I just saw a funny
I thought it was a funny Gannon Bird thing. I didn't
Okay.
even realize
Today-
that's what it meant.
today.
Wake up, and he says, "I'm leaving Prodigy."
again.
I know, I love it. Again, departure. He could have just posted the same video; it would have been hilarious.
I know, right?
But we knew it was coming, right? I mean, we talked about it. It was speculation, but it was also like we're pretty sure. And he's going somewhere, and he was cryptic in his message, referring to
Well, he said every company
the world
slogan.
leader in disc sports,
Yeah.
the leading
He's leaving
edge,
to
the
reinvent
choice
his
of
game.
champions.
Which is genius. move by him.
Yeah.
I'm a
That
dynamic
was
player.
hilarious.
So when you put all that together, and everybody's doing their best to spin it, how like okay, he talked two of
Who did
these
he
were
leave
those.
out?
Yeah, it's none of these. What did he leave out? I kind of am leaning on the moment when he says, "I am a dynamic player." It wasn't just a word or a phrase. That's my take. But everyone has different takes. They're like, he's definitely going to MVP. Like, or he's not going to Innova. But he made the announcement. Now we're just in a holding period. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time speculating, but if you have any takes on where you think he might go or a good, strong reason why, it might be fun to share. You don't, let's just sit back and watch.
Discmania is my opinion.
Disc Mania.
Discmania was the big one last year. Everyone thought that's 100% where he was going.
Yes.
That definitely very well could still be the case. I know Latitude dropped a lot of their American players that they had. Tristan Tanner, Connor O'Reilly. Why do I feel like there's more? Maybe
I
not.
feel like that's all I
Maybe
know,
that's
me
the two that
personally.
are kind of the most notable. Latitude could be making a splash to, hey, drop some players to maybe pony up the money for a big player. I think Latitude, personally, I think needs that American player, but I don't really know all their stuff now with the House of Discs and everything like that. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say Discmania just because it makes the most sense. Eagles allegedly leaving, and it seems that way. So I think if Discmania wants to stay afloat, I think they should spend some cheddar that they were using on Eagle and previously Simon and just get another big splash. And I think Gannon has the potential to be one of the greatest players in disc golf. So I think it would be a good investment to kind of lock him in since he's so young.
Add Alden to that list this morning. Surprise, boom, Alden. I'm leaving Prodigy. It's been great. And I've been wondering about him. I haven't talked a lot about him. Our shows have been staggered lately. You like that, Ben?
don't kill it too quick.
We just got to get it ingrained in
Yeah.
people's minds this week. They're just saying everything's staggered. But I've been watching and I've been like, man, he's been selling stuff because we're friends on social media. He's been selling stuff, organizing stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure he's staying. Pretty sure. Like, I don't even have a feeling about it, except like, I guess it seems obvious maybe he's leaving because he's doing all this, but I didn't have any real thoughts about it. But he announced this morning he is. So maybe him and Gannon are going together.
Maybe.
I mean, there's no reason to suggest it except that they do their vlog together. You don't need to be together to do that, like sponsorship wise.
No, I mean,
but you could double whammy on a sponsorship.
Look at Simon. He vlogs with everyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be an MVP player.
And Gannon does have his own YouTube. He does. But as far as popular content goes, it seems like Alden has it. And so I'm just saying, like, if you could double whammy on that, like, hey, let's bring him over too. Or I don't know. I'm not saying Alden can't be on his own.
Grabbing content creators who are also very good at disc golf is huge. I mean, people want to see Alden's vlogs. People want to see Gannon Burr play on Alden's vlogs, or people want to see Gannon Burr's vlogs, whatever.
Yep.
If people enjoy watching disc golf content, yeah, you get a 2-for-1 deal out of that if you somehow pick them both up at the same time. People are saying DGA. Cole Redolin, great DGA player, won Ledgestone last year. Great friends with Gannon and Alden. And I mean, that would be a huge, absolutely huge pickup for DGA.
So let's take the conversation down this alley, because this is a conversation we can all discuss. Gannon left, Alden left. You may or may not know this name. I'm familiar. Maybe you are over time. Dutch Napier, old school.
He left Prodigy.
Left Prodigy.
Yeah.
Parker Welk left Prodigy.
Oh, I didn't know Parker did.
Yeah, Parker did. That's another big name that has left a Prodigy, but just a company in general. Parker.
So over the years, we've watched as Chris Dickerson left, Katrina Allen. I mean, we've watched over the years. If we go way back, we could do that for every company.
Yeah.
Isaac Robinson.
Still there.
Kale is a part owner of some sort,
Yeah.
but so
Kale
Kale's
will
there.
never leave.
Right. But like, so who's their big players now?
Kevin Jones,
Isaac.
Kevin Jones,
Isaac.
Isaac, and is Ezra still there?
Robinson.
Ezra's still there.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
So you don't need 6 top players or 8, and they might say, well, we do have those, but it's obviously this. Innova did this too. We saw players leave Innova for a while too.
Realistically, if I was to pick two players to play, it would have been I said that wrong. 2 players to pay. Sorry, like got that.
2 players to play.
I like said it in my head too, and I was like, I think I said that right. 2
And we
players.
didn't correct you.
Yeah, exactly. If I had 2 players to pay, it would have been Isaac Robinson and Gannon Burr, and I would have realistically, and this is just me speculating in general, I think the money that Kevin Jones is getting compared to what other players on the team is getting is one of the big reasons why players are leaving. But Prodigy kind of shot themselves in the foot when you make that contract with a player who 2-3 years ago is playing great, but then you have these 2 up-and-coming players who honestly are just multitude times better right now. I think then like Isaac Robinson, Gannon Burr are, I think everyone would agree with me, are both better than Kevin Jones currently at the moment.
Currently, yes.
So I hope Isaac Robinson is getting a fat paycheck this year. 2 major wins. He has to be. If he's staying with them, he has to be.
His contract ends, I'm pretty sure, next year. I think when
in
he's
25.
Yeah. So
or end of 24.
I hope if they're smart, if Prodigy's smart, they renegotiate.
I think Isaac had said he has a
down.
renegotiation clause in his contract,
Yeah.
and
I think
now's
they
the time to
lock it down
renegotiate
right now. And you need Prodigy. If you're smart, Kevin Jones, he's a good guy, not performing as good as he previously was. 2 years ago, I remember Kevin Jones was like almost like on every league card, and he almost won a tournament. I remember, but he kept missing a punt and it kept rolling down the hill. That's all I remember.
That's all I remember. I remember it too.
But we have a major championship winner in Worlds and Champions Cup with Isaac Robinson. He's a huge asset, fillets the woods, and I think if he works on his brandability a little more of just posting videos and all that, which Alden's YouTube will help that, I think he can move a lot of plastic for you guys, and I think you gotta secure him. That's my letter to Prodigy.
Like also left. Throw like Lucky. She left Prodigy. That's just another player talking about Prodigy movement.
Good call. Luke. Yeah. I've tried so hard. I've talked to her in person. I'm like, what is it? She coached me on it, but still not getting it well. It's like Tattar or Tattar. All right. I love how that became a thing this season, by the way. It's pretty funny to me. But Josh, what do you think?
Well, I don't know if we're done talking players or not, but like
we're still going.
Okay. I have tons of speculation, but I actually have no reason to share it because it's literally speculation. Although I know it's what we do, right?
That's what we do. Speculate.
That's
Okay,
like the worst.
okay.
That's like the worst part of the off-season episodes is the speculation aspect. But yeah,
it is, because either the person speculating has zero clue, so it's just like silly, or the person speculating knows.
You have to speculate.
2 options,
yeah,
and then they've got to speculate. So I'm just like,
do you remember when Nick
like,
broke
whatever.
the news on somebody once on accident? He's like acting like we don't know, but he's like,
who was that?
It was Marweed.
It was Marweed. Yeah, Marweed to DGA when he left.
And we're all like, that was announced already? And you're
I was
like,
like,
yeah, sure. No, actually, I don't mean anything I just said. It was awesome. So if you're a live audience, you get to see the live stuff. We edited that out, but always join live.
So what I find more interesting is this off season, it's been a little bit, is just watching the rumor mill discussion wind itself up. That's actually like a little bit of a spectator sport in its own right. Like all the rumors and everybody who knows something, who knows somebody, who knows somebody, who knows something. But let me say this, I've gotten a kick out of like Gannon in his video, right? Dropping all those taglines and all those hints, and how so many people listening to it only catch like one of them.
Oh yeah, they're like, oh my
and
goodness.
Then they comment, and they're like the first to drop it in like, the disc golf page in Facebook, right? Be like, Gannon's going to Innova, I know it, right? Or he's going to Dynamic.
Someone's like bursting their bubble
when someone's like, someone comments. So anyway, I love that Gannon did that. Like it's awesome and hilarious. I don't know if it's true. I haven't followed up on it, but it sounds like maybe he's joining various like Facebook fan clubs. We've seen them, sell stuff, promote stuff. So it's just kind of like top level troll. And then, by the way, who was it I'm just pulling a blank, so you have to help me. Who posted that they were leaving a team, and then like, who commented? Was it like Paul?
Paul, Ricky,
yeah.
and Calvin.
It was Emerson
Everybody
Keith
was like,
leaving
"Welcome to the
Lone Star, I
team."
think.
Yeah.
They're like, welcome to
Okay.
the team.
I'm just saying, like, this is the stuff. Better than the speculation, this is the stuff. If you follow the sport closely, you know, unless you actually know, it's all just speculation, then just sit back and enjoy the rest of the world, like spin themselves into a
Yeah.
tizzy. It's pretty fun, actually, from that aspect. Obviously, it is intriguing to figure out where they go. My comments earlier about how it's all business, that is actually like how I find it interesting to think about it, is both sides are trying to find the right opportunity that they both find equivalent value in. So, right, some companies trying to say you're worth X dollars, and you have to negotiate till that player agrees that they're worth X dollars. And there are so many variables that some of us here probably think about, but it's probably really, really complex, right, to arrive at that. And I find that part interesting. And when you see the final outcome, it's literally like a stamp on it and saying, these two parties have agreed that the value is set at X. Sometimes we get to hear that value. That's always most interesting. Sometimes we don't. So one of my questions, if you want to add to the speculation, is are we going to hear the dollar amounts? With the sport exploding the last few years, we heard some really big paychecks. Are we going to hear dollar amounts from any of these players?
I, from a perspective of being intrigued by it, am saddened by my answer here, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen again. Or not.
And that's because, and so does that not imply that they're getting paid quite a bit less than those really big splashes?
I think so.
They're
I
not
think
$1
so.
million deals.
I've asked some of these players who have made changes or are changing, and even Simon, for instance, that I know everyone thinks that it was announced, but it was never announced.
Yeah.
So like even Simon's wasn't announced. So if you have a number in your head for Simon, it's based off of everything you put together yourself, which everyone feels pretty comfortable with for some reason, because where there's smoke, there's fire, that kind of a thing. But Josh, by the way, I think it was funny. You brought up the Emerson Keith and everyone going, welcome to the team. Someone actually has a take here that they said it looked like Calvin accidentally outed Emerson's move, and then Ricky and Paul ran cover for him.
Yeah, everybody covered it.
Well, it's an interesting,
awesome.
but see, this is a spin here too, where like Emerson says, I'm leaving Lone Star, and Calvin goes, welcome to the team. Whether he knew it or not, it actually happened. Yeah. But it would be pretty funny if he's like, oops, hey, Paul, can you go over there and say, welcome to the team? Hey, Ricky, can
I'll spoil
you go
it.
say,
That's not what happened.
Okay.
But
all right. So anyways, that's pretty funny.
Like I hope that kind of thing, like I hope pro disc golfers decide to have a lot of fun with the fans, and don't take it too far where it like beats us up, right? And we give up because it's embarrassing, but have fun with it. Like just tease it out, give the hints, the false hints. That's as much of a spectator sport as the actual sport itself.
So Prodigy has had this happening. And Lone Star has players leaving. I don't want to talk so much about Lone Star anymore because I think there's interesting just business decisions being made. It's purely business, whether or not they know disc golf or they're like, we do, and we've just made decisions. We're changing them this year. Whatever it is, it's happening. But then also, I feel like we can go down the road of disc mania now with this conversation too at some level. Simon left last year. Eagle, I only say this because of this where there's smoke, there's fire take. And the point that I've looked in the past and I said, I don't think it's ever been talked about a player leaving that wasn't actually either trying to or in negotiations. So whether he leaves or not, Discmania, there's negotiations that have probably been happening because this wouldn't be a conversation today without that. But if he leaves, let's just go that road. If he leaves, you have Kyle and Casey because Nicholas also has left. Yes. That would be 3 decent players of like their highest caliber. Mm-hmm. Kyle obviously is a high caliber, so he'll be one of those left.
The highest.
And then Casey obviously is, whether you want to call him up and comer, able to hold his ground, top 20s here and there, like that's great. But like Discmania, is this because of the House of Disc deal? They're looking at their books and they're going, okay, they're in our books. We got Dynamic in our books. We've got like Latitude. We've got Westside. And they're looking at everybody and they're like going, let's consolidate and let's just like what's happening. I don't know. But Discmania. So you got 3 companies now that potentially this offseason have lost like a load of their better players. This is just the movement in disc golf. I don't know if like it's going to continue this way, but I think we will see this forever. Maybe not at the highest. It's going to be like disc golf is of the past. The payouts used to be so high where you had to be a top 8 player to make money, and now it's moving down the board, right? And I feel like it's going to start being that way for players moving companies. Whereas it used to be like you could only like make a splash if you were one of the top 1 or 2 players to move a company.
Yeah.
In the future, you might be a top 20 player to company and it's a big splash to the world. In the future, maybe that's 20 years away. But like, it's interesting to see that between Lone Star, up and coming, but then Prodigy, Discmania. A lot of them are losing good players, it seems like, without official news on some of those. But Niklas is leaving. I was sure it's going to be announced. And as far as when it's announced, Gannon announced today. I would expect next week, probably within 10 days or 2 weeks, the longest. Niklas, I would expect very similar. They're all coming within the next week.
Yeah.
So
you can always tell January 1st is when all the Innova guys and gals, they post their picture saying, hey, like your son.
Innova is a January 1st athlete
January
player
1st.
post.
Exactly. And so you know pretty much everyone who's on Innova at this point, Emerson being the notable one who was a big pickup this year. Maybe they are going to announce some more players.
It could be Eagle.
It could be.
Or it could be Niklas.
Yeah.
Or it could be whoever else.
Could be Gannon.
Any other
Could be
player.
Alden.
Be Gannon. Because yes, I think we've seen companies do this in the past. Announce their team, but they wait for that big one.
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to happen still.
Like you see a lot of the players on Discraft, a lot of the like tour team players, you know, announcing, hey, like the Lens twins announced, back to Discraft for another year, or the underground team players are announcing today, but we haven't seen that big name. It also could be that nothing is settled for those players yet. Gannon could still be in contract talk with another company.
People might be surprised to find out. But you and I have been privileged enough to talk to players over the years. I'm not even talking specifically this year. And we do know that when players, we're hearing the smoke, if you will, like they're not even decided.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very possible. If, I'm throwing out a very big rhetorical if here. If Eagle and Niklas went to Innova, because I think that I've already said I was leaning towards Eagle going to Innova in my mindset, just how I feel. It was between that and MVP, and I'm just feeling Innova. Like, I feel like it would fit him really well for plastic and all that stuff. And then Niklas, I just feel like that would be an easy transition.
I think Niklas goes to Latitude.
Okay. But
because of the European scene that Latitude has, I think that's his...
Sure.
Yeah.
If this happens, though, where like both of those players, this is just my take. If that happens, how big would that be for Innova? I mean, Eagle and Niklas.
On another
They haven't done anything for a while.
Level.
It'd be big,
That'd
right?
be the best team in disc golf. I'll say it there.
Eagle.
It'd be the best team in disc golf.
Oh, Calvin.
Yeah.
Niklas.
Best
I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say that, but
I would. I know your team Discraft.
It doesn't even have to be that I'm team Discraft, but I mean, there are players on other teams that
Discraft,
are still...
though, would be the one, right? I mean, that would be the one you'd put up against it.
Discraft would be the one, but like, what's their top three? Like Paul.
Now we're having fun. Now you would have... How do you balance this out? Like Gannon goes, like I said, somewhere else.
I mean, if you took Calvin, his last win was in April.
Yep.
If you took Eagle, did he win it all this year?
No, but
Niklas won a European event.
Yeah.
Or you could take Discraft, where you have Paul, you have Dickerson, you have Corey Ellis.
Well, yeah, Corey this year. Dickerson and Paul didn't do much this year, but Corey Ellis did do something. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a good debate. I think
there's a debate there, 100%. But yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's just fun. It's whether you find it fun to talk about or listen to, as Josh said a minute ago. It's just be entertained by it because we're gonna find out when we find out.
Let's go.
It's like guessing what's in your Christmas present as a kid. Like you're gonna find out, but it is fun to think about, and maybe it keeps you up at night.
This is a great one.
Which disc golf show I was going to go on this off season. Like I had multiple offers, kind of had to go back and forth.
Wonderful.
I mean, one of the comments like Chaser 90 EK Antela could also fit Discraft expanding its Euro market and Prodigy trying to reclaim its share of Europe. I think both of those are great. I mean, Discraft doesn't have a massive presence in Europe, but they did pick up KJ Nybo. And I know to a lot of new people might not even know who KJ Nybo is, but he's the original KJ. And 14-time Danish Denmark winner,
guy,
whatever.
Originally,
I mean, incredible disc golfer, and you can see him if you look at the Spin TV coverage of the 2014 European Masters. He plays an incredible round against Paul at that. So yeah, I mean, they could be expanding into that market as well.
You know what I love that I've seen a little bit now, and it's cool that disc golf is here. A non like manufacturer, if you will. Infinite obviously has their plastic too, but like I don't consider them a manufacturer of sorts. Like people throw them in the conversation now as a legit viable option all the time. And wouldn't it be awesome to be Infinite nowadays, because that's comes up every year? It's like, oh, maybe they go sign an open bag to Infinite. And I'm like, if I was Infinite right now, I'd be so happy that I started that at some point in my business journey. Like, I'm going to start letting people play open bags with my disc, because it is a legit option that people talk about now. And it's cool that they're like one of the only ones. I don't know of many others that sponsor at that high of a level.
At a high of a level, yeah. Clash.
Well, like for instance, like Disc Golf 978, our episode sponsor. Like they sponsor Casey White. I think that's probably their highest sponsored player. But that's not like the sole sponsorship. Like it's not his primary sponsorship as far as I know.
Exactly.
Discmania.
Well, Discmania would be. Yeah.
So
I think for a lot of players, like there are a lot of players out there who I think would benefit from going to a company like that rather than one of the big companies, because that your name is so much. Let's say you're a top 40 player. Like, all right, take someone like Mason Ford, won a national tour event, was playing for Innova at the time, and they came out with a Halo Leopard 3, I think, for him. But his name's not huge at Innova because Innova's got Calvin, Innova's got Sexton. They've got all these players who have very high caliber names. Go over to Mint Discs, an up and coming company. You are the number one guy at that company. You have so much more. You have a scene in Texas where he's from.
Mason's
now
still
all
there,
these
right?
players who
he's still there.
love to follow along with you, they all want to try Mint Discs now. And I'm not saying he's the most brandable player in the world. Don't get me wrong. But I think for a lot of players, that opportunity is very good. I mean, Drew Gibson had or has a putter sponsorship, but then also has his own line of discs, but then also can throw whatever else he wants. He can take the best discs from the best companies and say, yeah, I'm going to throw those while still having a very top tier brand in the sport.
So I have some exclusive news. Hopefully it's right from the chat. Chaser was saying that he's a mod of the MVP fan group and that Gannon Burr just joined that group 20 minutes ago.
I think someone said earlier, though,
What
that
group?
Gannon joined like 7 different
that's where I was
collector
going
groups.
with. Gannon also joined like the Discraft group, I think.
the
Maybe
Discraft all day,
Dynamic.
whatever.
So I think he's
This is all part of his plan.
Like what Josh is saying, I think he's having some fun. Because he did join the Discmania group originally, but now he's kind of just doing
I
it
was
for
lucky
fun.
enough to get to know Gannon this year. Like time at my house hanging out, and he's just messing around with everybody right now. He's loving life. He's just loving life.
He's loving the memes.
Right, but it does make it fun because then you can investigate and say, where does he slip up? Right? Where's the one thing that he actually does that's real?
But I think it's good to cover him. I think it's good because if he does slip up, you
He's
don't
like,
think
I did
it's
it everywhere.
as legit.
He's also, everyone's talking about him.
Yep.
Which
Yes.
Gannon,
It's brilliant.
Wow, he's a
Gannon
genius.
arguably is the highest caliber player that left a company this year. I mean, Nicholas is up there, but Gannon is kind of the
That we know of. We don't know what
that we know of
Eagle's
so
doing,
far.
right?
You're right. That we know of so far. Gannon so far has been kind of the top player that left a company. So yeah, it's where is Gannon going?
Yep, it's good stuff.
All right. I have one thing I want to just get out there as far as like from my take on this. And by the way, we don't say this at the beginning of every show, like, hey, the personal opinions of everyone on the show does not, mean that everybody thinks this in the show. Like, we don't have any of that stuff. This is just assumed. But it was announced through the PDGA that the competition for transgendered women being able to compete in the FPO division, I'll use the word like revoked, like they reverting back to where they were at one point. The original, which allows transgender women to compete if certain criteria is met, not at the highest level. I'll just put it that way. Like they got rid of like having to transition before 12 years old or puberty or whatever. Like they got rid of some of the really strict. So now Natalie has dropped her court cases. And my understanding is without prejudice, or no, I don't know if it was without prejudice, meaning she might be able to still open these back up at some point. But right now it is resolved in that sense. But resolved in that sense means a lot of other people are very unhappy. There are some that are happy. There are some that are very unhappy. So when it comes to this, I've already shared my opinion on it lightly. I've also said that rules are rules, and I'm not the one setting the rules, and that doesn't mean I sit back, but there's only so much you can and can't do here. For the sake of disc golf, Let me just read this because I'm better at reading things. Transgender competition at elite level has been restored. My short and incomplete stance, I did not mean that before we had our name change. My stance is that transgender women and all genders are welcome to play the sport. Competition at a professional level needs and requires the highest level of rules and fairness. It is my current opinion that until it can be proven fair that transgender women don't have an advantage, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be the onus of anyone to prove that it doesn't affect the game. So, like, if you're coming as a transgender woman, it is my opinion that you have to bring the science that says it's not fair. Now, some can say that's what's happening here, but I'm not this professional. But there would have to be a way to verify that. But my point is, it has to be brought that, like, I'm coming and there's no unfair advantage for me as a person. And I would think the person themselves would want that. Like, they would want that. And I think when I asked Natalie that, when we interviewed her, it was, if this information ever came along, like, how would you handle it? And she said, if, like, more or less, she doesn't think it will, which, you know, is telling a little bit. But if the science is there, I think I remember her saying that she would respect it. But my point is, like, it shouldn't be the responsibility of everybody else to say, we have to bring the proof that it's not unfair. I think it should be the person, the competitor themselves. So anyways, it's the responsibility of the person's requesting a change. Now, in the scenario that the PDGA and the Disc Golf Pro Tour would cease to exist if they continued as they believe is right, which they've made pretty clear, the Disc Golf Pro Tour said they think that they had the right decision. I mean, they fought it in court to the hundreds of thousands of dollars. They obviously believed one way was the right way for them. Now they're doing the opposite. So we know that they're not doing that as their first choice, including the PDGA, which also has noted in their announcement that they're going to reconvene on this in 2025, which in 2025, it sounds to me like they're going to be like, maybe another sport has set precedents that we can now go back and change this. So really, it's a financial issue right now. That is literally what it's about. Dollars. The Pro Tour would cease to exist if they continued with fighting in court because we are not that big. Now, somebody like a cycling organization or some other massive organization, they might have the dollars to continue down that road. And there's so many caveats to this. Like, oh, maybe membership dollars can be spent here. And I'm like, you know what? I'm more okay with like this 2-year hiatus, as much as like I don't agree with it personally. I'm okay with this for a longer term goal. And that's, you can only take what you're hearing from me in this moment. If we were to have a conversation, I bet you a lot of us actually agree on a lot of topics and we could actually get really deep and intricate. In a public stance here, I just want to say it seems to be a necessary sort of situation right now that we find ourselves. Didn't we watch what happened last year? Or I should say, last year, 2023, the Pro Tour tried to suspend the FPO competition because they couldn't handle the court cases. Yeah. The FPO reacted. It's not going to work. It was a tried thing.
The whole schedule was about to change.
It was a
FPO
tried
players.
thing.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like we gave it a try. And by we, I just mean generally the sports governing bodies and the tour. And it didn't work. So I kind of see it as a necessary sort of situation if we want any part of the tour to continue currently at any level. And I want to say this, my life is not messed up because of this situation. Like, it doesn't mess up my life. So like, I don't have a real cat in this fight, if you will. Like, it's not like, oh, my life's messed up. I just talk about it. But I will say, so it doesn't mess me up. I'll bring it up on the show when I feel like it actually demands that we do that. This is one of those moments where I didn't think it demanded it, but I wanted to get it out there that, like, we're aware of it. We're not making it a massive talking point because I don't think that we're going to do too much with it. But we'll talk about it as it demands. So there you go. And then finally, as we wrap this up, another hot topic. 2024, Nick, your next PDGA event, you're keeping score, and so is everybody else on your card.
Is that past?
2024,
that's official?
baby.
Gotcha.
Does that bother you?
No.
Like, no. We can nitpick. How does it work? How does this, who turns in a paper? Like, it's going to happen, guys. It's going to be figured out.
The only thing I don't want to do is stats for you, Disc. But at the same time, I don't play Pro Tour events anymore. That's the only thing that I don't care to do. But if I have to write down a 4 for Ben, a 3 for you, a 2 for me, and a 1 for Evan, then whatever. Why
would Evan get the 1?
I don't know.
I'm just
forehand hole. Yeah, like to me that it doesn't bother me. If I don't want to look at text messages on my phone, I just put it on do not disturb, and that allows me to keep score without scrolling
Or
through.
paper.
I think
Like
I
there's gonna be
understand a lot of people
paper,
don't
for
like to
sure.
use their phone,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't sympathize for it, and the reason that like I don't see that much of an issue with it. But there are plenty of rules that maybe I do see an issue with that people are like, oh, I can't believe you have an issue with that. But for me about this one, I'm like, it doesn't bother me any.
The intricacies of questions like, we've already asked some, and I'm not going to spend a lot here. Oh, as long as they don't mind if I have paper. And sorry, that's my internet voice. I don't know these people, but it sounds like complaining. But they're going to have paper for you, or they're going to provide you an electronic device. Like one or the, like they're you do not have to be rich enough to have an iPhone or an iPad or whatever. Like you don't need that.
Yeah.
They're going to, so just take that argument off the table. Like you're going to be fine tracking score somehow or another. The intricacies of asking how as a TD perspective, it is interesting, but that's not for the majority of our audience. I think things like if everybody has to turn in a scorecard and the people who did use paper, like, do I now have to go check their paper versus what got submitted on the digital scorecard? Because if I'm keeping track, I'm not just keeping track of my own score.
If you're
I'm
keeping track of
of the whole
paper,
group.
If you're keeping track of paper and I'm keeping track of the digital, I'm keeping track of PDGA.
Right, but
If
I would be
no,
on your PDGA. Right.
Yeah,
and
you're
when
on my
hit
PDGA.
submit-
So if I go to you and say, hey, Matt, I've got Ben at a 56, you at a 55, me at a 54, Josh at a 53.
Yep.
You look at your card and say,
Yep.
yeah, sounds
Submit.
good to me. You could write down, because you don't have to turn all four of them in, do you?
But this is what I'm saying, the intricacies. I don't know yet. And if paper gets turned in from one person from a foursome, but three people did digital, and we're like, cool, we all agree with ours, and we agree with yours, and we're hitting submit. But now the paper makes it in, like, does it change? I'm saying, like, that's interesting only in the sense of from a TD's perspective, how am I going to handle that? For the average person, this rule is literally you just keep track of score. That's cool. Don't worry about anything else. Just do what the TD tells you to do for tracking score, and it's over, done. It's easy.
Very easy. If we're playing on a card together and we get to the next hole, you're gonna get used to it, and you got to dig into your bag, grab the paper scorecard, and then I'm gonna say, "Hey Ben, what'd you get?" Ben says, "I got a 2." Matt, what'd you get? 2. And then everyone writes it down or presses the button. It's not a difficult scenario. Nope. It's not at all. It's harder to keep track of OB strokes than it is to write down a score.
What's up, Cupcake? Jacob Curtis in the chat.
You just dropped a hot take.
He says, hot take, I think I will become most improved player
on your
on our show. No,
on tour.
And this on tour. There you go. And this on tour this coming season.
You gotta back it up now.
Okay.
It's out in the public.
He's a good dude. I see him around. We talk. He throws really far. All right. Well, we've pretty much made it to the end here. Anyone have any closing thoughts as we get ready to close it down?
I didn't realize it's 9:00.
Yeah.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. By the way, I have a chat GPT announcement.
All right, I'll give you that in just a second. And if you look at Overthrow's chat, Josh, is talking in chat with us from Overthrow. He's talking about if you can't handle knowing your score, that's just being bad at mental game. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very, very much in agreement with that. To where I don't know how you can play the sport without knowing your score. Like, I know if I'm competing at a tournament and I'm going to try to win that tournament, because that's my whole goal is when I go to a tournament is to try to win. I know what my score is to know, like, hey, I got to get my ass into gear right now. Or, okay, like, I'm up by 3. Let's just put it in the fairway. Let's not go OB. Like, those things. You should, as a competitor trying to win a tournament, you should know those things. And I know there are pros who have talked about they don't know the score going to the last hole. I'm not going to lie. I think that's awful. I think that's like a horrible mental take with it. But at the same time, that's my own opinion with it. I'm not winning pro tour events. But at the same time, it's like, you got to know where you're at.
Yeah.
So you have to know where you're at, especially if that's the rules of the game.
Yeah.
You could argue any single rule messes your mental game up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fact that it's a rule requires you to be able to handle that mentally. And if you can't, then tough.
Yeah.
Literally, that whole logic never makes sense to me. It's like, well, it adds extra, mental whatever. It's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So figure it out.
Shoot, put the 30-second rule, make it 20 seconds. Then we'll talk about people worrying about their mental game.
If everybody had the same
same
expectations, right? But anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's hear that Chat G.
I don't know, conspiracy. Matt, who said? Oh, it was someone in the chat said. I think it's Chat GPT. Check this out. You ready? I'm beyond thrilled to share some major news with you all. I've officially brought on board a fantastic addition to my team. Please join me in welcoming Matthias as my new tour manager. This marks a significant milestone in my disc golf journey. I couldn't be more stoked about the endless possibilities and growth that lie ahead. With Matthias by my side, I'm confident that we'll be hitting the courses stronger, strategizing smarter, making some serious waves in the disc golf world. He has a wealth of experience in the world of disc golf, and the passion for the sport aligns perfectly with my own. Together, we're gearing up for an incredible season, filled with challenges, triumphs, and unforgettable moments. Here's to elevating my game, unlocking new potentials, and reaching heights we've only dreamed of. Get ready for epic journeys. We tackle tournaments, connect with fans, and make memories.
How close was that to Kristen's post?
And it's like, let's do this. Hashtag Kristen Tattar, hashtag disc golf dreams, hashtag new beginnings. I'm going to post that thing.
Disc golf.
All right, Daniel, you're right. I'll give it to you.
That is awesome.
Dang.
That is awesome.
I mean,
was it actually similar?
GBT?
I mean, it has similarities for sure. But
that wasn't bad, right, Nick? I'm going to announce I joined the show. And it's going to be similar to that.
We've done this before. I think I did this for Simon when he was. We should have repeated this again this year for Gannon and others. Like, ask ChatGPT to tell you a sad story about Gannon leaving Prodigy and going to like one of these 4 other competitors, and like they'll tell you all about what happened. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
what would I use ChatGPT for in my personal
social media
life? Yeah, I get social media.
But write me a nice post.
I'm not like posting about tournaments right now because I'm not going to be playing as many tournaments.
Just say, hey, give me something engaging to post. I'm not playing tournaments, but this and that, and it'll just tell you.
I'm just curious
tell
it
what you in your life are trying to accomplish every day or every week, and say, help me optimize my schedule for this.
Sure. This is free for anyone to use?
Yeah.
Dang.
Tell it you're moving to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I'm not playing around.
Best post in the world tomorrow.
Not even a social media post.
Yeah.
Tell it you're going to Florida and you want to make sure that you optimize the travel, and it's important to you to, eat, get rest stops, and enjoy your time. And it'll say, here's what you should do.
Yeah. Is that what you do?
Didn't even know it was that insane.
Be like, I want to build like a top level disc golf course. Like, what are the main things I should focus on? And it'll start like, and then you go, how do I accomplish that? And it will just work you right through it.
All right. I'm gonna have to
remember, it doesn't actually know the answers. We can go to the AI tech if you're curious. But it is pretty interesting. If nothing else, it'll empower you to think about things that you may not have thought of.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good tool. Cool.
Wow. All right. Episode 171 will be one for the record books. In fact, this will be the last time we ever close it out as the Nick and Matt show. That's crazy. As far as the content goes, nothing's changing except for better. I think we're actually going to have better content. Yes. So that's cool. So stick around. January of 2024 and the whole year is something that we are going to look forward to in a really cool, big way. The team here is doing massive things. Nick is running Olympus down there in Florida. Ben runs the biggest disc golf expo ever. Well, I think the only one to this point.
Yeah,
only 26 days. 26 days to the expo, Ben. Hey, Nick, to be clear, only 46 days till the All-Star event.
Crazy.
I don't like that number.
Dude,
I'm just kidding. I'm so
Nick
excited
knows
for
my
it.
pressure
I'm
with
so
like
excited
events.
for it.
So scary.
I'm just so excited for everyone to see this property that hasn't seen it before. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 171. This is for the last time in the world, the Nick and Matt show. We are switching over to Staggered Stance. Shout out to Disc Golf 978. Shout out to Josh Graham, our newest co-host. Ben Kenny being promoted to co-host. Evan Kearns will still be on the show bringing us the stats.
Evan's return.
Don't worry about Evan, guys. We still got him. So everybody, once again, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms, social medias, and everything like that. This ain't ending with the show name changing, but tell everyone or tell someone you love them this week.
You gotta get
we'll catch you in the next
Nick,
one.
The last time. Tell someone you love them. Ben, you're awesome. Nick, you're awesome. Josh, you're awesome. Evan, we know, I'm assuming you're listening. You're awesome, Evan. Until next time, everybody.
Peace.
We'll catch you. Peace out.
On to Staggered Stance.
Whoa, crazy.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or join the conversation live on YouTube.